we're live. We're back again. Back again. Once again, we got a different guest this time. A retired fire training officer, fire captain, fire jack of everything. The one and only Gerry Bennett, also known as Gerr Bear to everybody else around here.
That's right.
Lovable as ever. And because Moorhead is still lazy and doesn't ever come on the podcast anymore, we have filling in for him once again, Captain Chaos, Dusty Johnson.
Hi, good to be back.
One of our our favorite special guest hosts.
I do want to ask Gerry though, do you ever age? Like I don't
like a fine wine.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just
Dang
get
right.
sweeter, man.
Oh man.
Yeah. And of course, always with us, Devin Shipper, the guy who doesn't skip leg day. In fact, does it twice a day just because.
Just because.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
All
I
right,
do
Ship.
it for the people who don't.
Yeah.
There you go.
We have to sometimes.
It hurts so
'cause
good.
There's a lot of people out there that suffer with lack of leg day. That
Lack of motivation.
Just that's how much we care. Is that we will do it for those who just decide not to or can't, right?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. It's good enough though. But yeah, no, Gerr Bear, look at this guy. Like for real. How long have you been gone? When did you retire, Gerr?
September of 18.
2018. So six
coming
years.
up on 6 years.
6 years already.
Yep.
Yeah. No, seriously. Like look. Well, how many of these retired guys do we see though that look? How much did take 10 years off you instantly after they retire?
Right,
I mean,
true.
so much. I mean, seriously, regular sleep, dump all that stress, chill and hang out and stuff, and we'll get into that and stuff because we were already talking a lot of it, and we want to save a lot of it and stuff. But one of the coolest places I think to just chill and hang out where you're living down now is Branson area and stuff. So it seems like that's a Sioux City Fire Rescue hangout anymore.
Yeah, I
like
think
a lot
so.
of retired guys go that way and stuff. So we'll get into Branson a little bit. So kind of like with everybody, and you said you've watched every episode, and now who you are.
Right.
I know we've talked about wanting to have you on for a while and stuff, and it worked out that we're like, Gerr Bear's in town. We're going to do this. We're going to get her recorded. So let's start back to the beginning, Jared. And where did you grow up? Graduate high school? Tell us your story. What's your deal?
All right. Well, I was born right here in Sioux City at the old St. Vincent Hospital, which is now part of Mercy up there, and went to school right here locally. Grew up out in Riverside primarily. Back when I was about third grade, my mom had gotten remarried to my stepdad. We moved over to McCook Lake for about 5 or 6 years. And while I was over there is when he passed away like 6 months later, believe it or not. He had a heart attack out of the blue. So eventually my mom started dating a guy that was Catholic, and we decided to become Catholic. So I got baptized and changed. So then I started going to Sacred Heart School in Riverside, and that progressed me up to Heelan. So I graduated from Heelan, which was a little bit different because I had friends that were from, the initial schooling that weren't from the Catholic side. Mm-hmm. And then when I ended up going to grade school there at Sacred Heart, and so I got a whole another new group of friends. So.
Yeah.
So I graduated from Heelan, and I think there's we can progress into other things right.
Yeah.
When I graduated, but
yeah, because that's so local boy goes to school here, grows up here, gets on the department here. But you college after high school then? Because you just did some time in the military, didn't you?
Right. Yeah. So what I did then is decided to join the 185th Air Guard. So I did the delayed enlistment, so I actually signed up when I was still a senior. Mm-hmm. And then left for basic training right after graduating, turned 18 in basic training.
Wow, man.
And then I did about a year and a half or so down here at the 185th with the fire department there is what I got into. And kind of liked it, thought it would be a good career, had a son by that time, and decided, let's just pack up and go active duty and leave town. So, so that's kind of how I progressed into going into the Air Force.
Yeah. So how much time did you spend on active duty then? Where'd you go?
About 9 years.
About 9 years.
Yeah, I had 11 years total.
Yeah. So
everything.
Favorite place when you were out? I mean, were you stationed stateside, overseas? Kind of where'd they bounce you around?
Yeah, I didn't really do a whole bunch of bouncing. I went to North Carolina. Was my first assignment, and down there for about 3 years. And at that time, that base was, they called it a war readiness material base, which I don't know if they still use those terms, but we had a lot of vehicles that were there, and the Air Force was coming out with the new crash rig called a P-19, and a lot of bases didn't even have them yet, and we had like 15 or 20 of them because they were all sitting there waiting to go overseas.
Yeah.
And they said, hey, we need to keep running those and using them to keep everything working and keep all the seals good and whatever. So we were getting a new rig like every 6 months or less, or a couple of them. And we were training everybody on that. And I kind of stepped up and said, hey, let me help learn about it and train people. And a couple people said, man, you do a pretty good job with this. Did you ever think about being an instructor? And I said, well, no. And they said, well, you need to look at it. So that's what I ended up doing then, is applying and becoming a fire instructor for the Air Force, and which sent me over to Chanute Air Force Base in Illinois, which has been closed now for many years. So I was there for 6.5 or so as an instructor. And
Yeah.
Were you there with an instructor with Albright?
yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And it's funny you say the P-19s were new because,
Now they're old and gone.
yeah, there's hardly any in inventory.
Right. I see them for sale on Facebook Marketplace every once in a while. I keep wanting to buy one.
There you go.
Please tell me how much one of those is.
Yeah, I don't know, but I don't know. I want to figure out if I can make it street legal.
Nice.
And just drive it down.
I bet you could.
See, they have a bunch of A-10 Warthogs that are going to be out of service.
Nice.
And I'm like,
Nice.
when do those come up for auction? If I can nab one for like $1,000 or
Yeah.
something,
Yeah.
like a city
Yeah.
auction.
I
that'd be
tell you
sick.
what, I'll go halvesies on them with you.
I'll chip in.
If we can get our hands on an A10.
I don't know if I could take an A10 down Main Street, Branson.
If
or
you
not.
try hard enough, you might be able to.
I think they probably have a model with the foldable wings.
We'll go to the cafe down there.
Yeah.
Bit.
Park it right up front.
Yeah. What's funny is down in Branson, they have A10s flying over the lake all the time.
Oh, man.
And what they do, from what I've been told anyway, is they target the speedboats.
Nice.
Like it's a moving vehicle.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
So they'll practice and they'll come in and
Really.
and target that.
I've seen
and
videos on
chase
the
'em.
internet of guys in like Chinooks or Blackhawks
Yeah.
kind of trying to keep up or keep pace,
Yeah.
and then they'll just blast past them.
Yeah.
Those are sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah.
That would be all right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, did you then so active duty, Illinois? So then, what got you back to Sioux City then, and got you with the fire department? And then, did you stay coming back to Sioux City? Did you stay on the guard side, or once you were done with active, did you discharge altogether?
Well, I kind of left the Air Force with a bad taste. It was the late 80s, 1990 time frame when they were doing a lot of goofy things to try to force people out without giving you anything, So I just had enough and said, I can do better in the civilian world. And so I actually tested Ames, Iowa City, Sioux City. I really wanted to come back to Sioux City, having been born and raised here, and family was still here. And so I tested everywhere, and then that's where we came back here and eventually got on. So
Yeah. What year was that?
I was hired in March of '94. I was actually on the list prior to that, and I failed the eye exam,
Oh.
which is funny because I was also working on a current list in Iowa City. Mm-hmm. And when I got the job offer the first time for Sioux City, I called Iowa City and I said, no, I'm done. I want to be in Sioux City, so just take me off your list. I don't want to waste your guys' time. And then I failed the eye exam, so I was out on everything.
Oh, no.
So that there was a few people that failed the eye exam on that list, and actually, I can't remember the guy's name. Sicard maybe was his last name. Anyway, he was the number one guy on the list, and he sued the city.
Oh.
Back then, that would have been probably 92, 3, something like that. And he sued the city because he failed, and his lawyer got a hold of me and said, "Do you want to jump on board, with us
Yeah.
and let's go?" And I said, "No, because I really still want to get hired. Right.
Right.
I'm going to
Yeah.
do whatever I need to do to get hired, And I think basically he ended up winning the lawsuit. All they did was offer him the job, and he didn't want it. I mean, so he just,
Yeah.
so it was just done.
Yeah.
But then I ran into Chief Hamilton downtown one day. I was doing some other work here in town, and I said, hey, has anything changed with the eye exams? And he kind of laughed. He said, well, believe it or not, we've accepted some new standards, changed it around. I think I can't remember what they adopted, if it was an NFPA standard or whatever. But anyway, he said, yeah, so it's different, so you need to go through. So I retested, got on that list, then got the job offer, and I passed the eye exam then and got hired.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it was funny because I'll never forget when I failed the eye exam, there was a little old lady nurse that was like screaming at me when I'm doing the test, don't you be squinting, you can't be squinting, you open them eyes, and and just like in your ear, I mean, right next to you. And it was just irritating and overwhelmingly stressful.
Yeah.
And I know that, and I failed.
Right.
So when I went through the next time and I passed the eye exam, I was like, whew, thank goodness I passed. And the doctor was like, why? And I said, well, because I failed last time. He says, well, you did good enough. You would have passed last time. I was like,
Oh, no.
So I know it was just,
Right.
having somebody
Yeah, it wasn't.
yelling at
It
me.
wasn't your eyes. It was
Right.
just situational with everything else.
But
yeah.
it worked out, like I said, and it was good. I got off of that list, so that was good.
Yeah. So what? So I guess with the firefighting, then is it because was that ever on your radar growing up or anything and stuff, or is that kind of just because the one time at the 185th kind of spurred your interest? I mean, what got you to say like that's what I want to do?
Well, growing up as a kid, I was actually a pretty good arsonist.
That's half of it right there, I think. Yeah.
And I was actually one of them little butthead kids that would phone the fire department and call in a fire that was non-existent just so I could watch the fire rig go by.
Wow.
Yeah, I was one of those kids.
One of those guys, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. So being, I was always intrigued by it, but it wasn't really necessarily on my radar.
Yeah.
I actually wanted to, I really wanted to be a pilot in the Navy, but that it just wasn't going to work out. And so my uncle was in the life support division down here at the 185th, and he kind of sat down and said, listen, if you're really unsure what you want to do, then maybe you should go this route and take a look at it. And so I went down to the 185th and talked to the recruiter and everything else, and I said, well, what do you have open for jobs? And they listed out everything, and I said, well, see, bomb loader? No, that's not going to help me for civilian world if I ever get out. And fire department? Ding, ding, ding. There we go. Let's
Yeah.
do that. So I, jumped into the fire department.
Yeah.
So
you're at least planning ahead, though. Like you talked about, I got to do something after this, too.
Right.
So that's forward thinking on your part.
Just in case,
Yeah.
and he helped me out with that. And my mom was prior military. She was
Sure.
She was Women's Air Corps over in Germany way
wow.
back, way back before I was around. And
Holy cow.
so, yeah. So they all kind of, helped guide me that direction. And
Right. So
Good.
you have a family history of public service. Then did you have any other family members that were in the fire service at all?
no,
Just you?
no, none at all. And actually, being honest, when I told my dad that I was wanting to do that military and do the fire stuff, he actually, I won't say he harassed me about it, but he really made me say it was a stupid choice and whatever. But now, again, he was obviously quite a bit older, and the only firefighters he knew around Sioux City way back in the day, I've heard some of the stories, and I can kind of understand why maybe he thought it was not the way to go,
Sure.
But yeah, there was nobody did fire. It was just kind of out of the blue. Like I said, it was something that intrigued me, sounded exciting.
Yeah.
So 94, you said 94 when you got hired.
Correct.
Yeah. So what did you guys, when you guys for your entrance exam, then was that? Had they adopted the combat challenge yet at that point, or was that still like the Sioux City, the made up physical assessment?
It was still the made up physical assessment thing.
Yeah,
I think
it
we
was
went to
like-
East High Gym.
I was just say like walking up the bleachers and carrying
Yeah.
stuff back and forth.
Yeah, and dragging a
everything.
sandbag. And,
Yeah.
And what was funny is you would have a group of, I can't remember, it was like 10 or 12 people. I mean, there was 300, I think, or more that tested
Wow.
at that time. But the ones that moved on, you would go, you had different stations you would move through for the physical, but you would go like in a group of 10, and you'd go to the next station, and then you'd wait for everybody to finish. So it wasn't like a timed event where you had to go quick,
yeah.
quick.
Okay.
No, you would just move event to event, do event, and so it wasn't nearly at all what it was.
Yeah, well, yeah, what it is now.
Yeah.
was your probation then? Was the tower, the 18th Street Tower, is that building in use then at that time? Did
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, that's what we used.
You were out there for that? Or at that building?
We used the tower. The actual administrative building was already shut down.
It was already shut down.
Right. They'd already had problems with that sinking.
Yep. Because I can't remember, because I know it was only it wasn't that long after they'd opened it that they basically said we can't use it anymore. But I can remember what year that was.
Yeah, and I'm not even sure either what year it got closed down. It was just basically a storage building, when
you got hired, even in '94.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, the old tower, the old 18th Street Tower.
That's coming down soon.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they built that correctly. I mean, that whole area was built on an old dump. So
Right.
in the tower, they put in, because of the weight, they put in good pilings, and so there was no issue with that.
Yeah.
Everything around that was
That road, everything's
falling in,
moved so much. Even when I came on in '02, it already moved a lot.
Right.
And
Actually, I had rigs getting high centered and out there too.
Well, oh yeah, and you try to pull like the hazmat trailers through there, and you couldn't because of the
Right.
drag. So
Yeah.
Did you have a probie partner?
no,
Just you?
just me.
Oh man.
So I came on. I was originally told that I came on to replace a guy that had came on with Chief Everett that had some issues, shall we say. Got let go, and I got told that I was replacing him. Now I don't know. I came on right after John Shoemaker, Larry Whitwer. There were a couple guys there. So I assumed I was taking that other guy's place, but so I just came on by myself,
Okay.
but that made it kind of unique.
Yeah, right.
No study partners.
Yeah. And then all the attention is focused just on you.
100% on me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No real downtime at all.
No.
What's Jerry doing? Let's go see what Jerry's up to.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because I guess I didn't get told necessarily all of the rules right away the way it was supposed to be. So, after lunch one day, I went upstairs to the TV room and sat down and was watching the news in the TV room. Old Threes down on Fifth, and Captain Diamond at the time, he come in and he was like, hey, he sat down. He didn't really say anything at all. And it lasted maybe a minute or two, and I could just about feel the steam coming off of him. And he was like, "What in the hell are you doing up here?" Watching the news, And so that's where I found out rather quickly that that's not where I belong. No. So
Jerry, I did that same thing on orientation too at Old Threes. Because here I am, just this 22-year-old college kid, and like, okay, go take lunch. And so I finished my lunch, and like, oh, there's a TV room. I'll go take a break in there, and that did not go over good. Yeah. I got some funny looks, and was told not so nicely to leave the room and go find somewhere else to sit down.
Yeah, that's pretty much. Yeah, I tried to clean it up a little bit for me, but it was a butt chewing.
Oh yeah,
that's where you learn really quick that. Okay.
A lot of informal rules that you'll get acquainted with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who were your officers on probation? So you had Diamond, and who else do you have?
Originally, it was Diamond and Casina, and then Diamond made assistant chief, and Denny Capron came in as the captain.
Okay.
And so it kind of finished with him and Casina.
Yeah. So a couple guys that probably would have been hard being on probation for officers, huh?
It was unique. It was kind of fun. I remember driving for Denny one time, driving Engine 3, and I had my elbow on the arm, I had my hand up on the. Driving one-handed, and he was like, "Oh, you're one of them California drivers, aren't you?" I was like, "Well, what do you mean by that?" Yeah. So he yelled at me, and I said, two-handed.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But
that's funny.
Yeah. I just was, relaxed and kicked back and having a good old time.
Yeah. So probation at Old Threes, Dusty, you and Jesse were the last ones to get to the Old Threes and stuff. So. So not a lot of us got to experience that in the polls and everything else. But kind of, if you want, you kind of walk us through your path, because you kind of from probation to captain, because you not only captain but training officer. I mean, you kind of did some of everything throughout your whole career as far as assignments and specialties and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. What's kind of funny is that I was an instructor, taught through the Air Force for years. So then when I came and got hired on Sioux City, then I had already done a lot of the probationary type training, if you want to call it that, because we had students nonstop, and did that for years. And
How old were you when you came on?
30. Yeah, I was 30.
30 when you came on.
Yeah.
Okay, so a little bit of that.
So
Not
I
too
turned
old, but
31.
A little bit older.
Yeah, so I turned 31 in the middle of my probation.
So I guess what's the mindset of a 30-year-old coming on that was in the Air Force but around fire doing
Right.
stuff and actually teaching all that stuff, and then you're coming on and now you have to like zip it and be taught. I mean that's
and that was tough for me. I'm not necessarily really good at zipping it.
Because it's not like you're coming on as some 20-year-old kid that
Right,
doesn't know anything. You're
Right.
like 30. You're like, dude, I've been alive for a little bit and been working
Right.
for a hot minute. Like I
How
kind of
many
know
kids
some
did you have
stuff.
at that point?
3.
Yeah, you were
Yeah,
well
so I mean,
into
it's
life.
a different.
and
Yeah, so
running
somebody
at full clip.
treating
and
you
then-
like you're some kid. So I think, what's your mindset going through probation?
It was, and that's part of the talks that they had to have to kind of tell me the rules of the way it's going to be, and I kind of had to learn that I was basically, starting over. It was a little difficult just because, like I said, I'm not really good at necessarily
right. Let's just say you're passionate, right?
passionate. Yeah, I like to poke the bear a little bit here and there, and
Yeah.
so it took a little while to get adjusted to that. And I was the very first one to do the IFSTA program.
Okay.
Oh wow.
And they kind of specifically talked to me and they said, hey, we're looking at doing this program. And that's what the Air Force used was everything was IFSTA. I don't know if it still is, but it was everything, every single job task you had that you had to perform had to have a specific item in an IFSTA manual somewhere that it related to
Yeah.
that just coordinated the entire training process. So I was used to that, and they knew that. They had kind of picked my brain a little bit, and they said, hey, so we're taking a look at this new program. Would you want to be the first one to kind of be the guinea pig
Yeah.
and go through it and tell us what you think? And so it was a little bit more of a convoluted system back then because all of the job sheets and everything had to be photocopied and everything had, so there was a lot of work involved for them as the training officers to do that. But we kind of worked our way through it. And then eventually after I kept telling them what I thought of all of it, then they told me okay, that's enough.
Yeah.
You can be quiet now. So
Just
because
shut
there
up.
was a lot of issues with it. With the first run through, there was a lot of issues that IFSTA was still having getting things figured out. And,
Right.
but and it was difficult because prior to me, it was all Sioux City Fire Department at that time training.
Yeah.
So everything was very specific, and so now we're going through and doing all the IFSTA required training, which didn't necessarily fall in line with the way Sioux City did it.
Right. Sure.
So I'm learning kind of both, the IFSTA side, which was not a big deal. That was because I was familiar with all that.
Yeah.
But then also learning, Sioux City's guidelines, and so it was kind of two different books you were kind of working out of.
Doesn't sound too far off.
No.
I mean, as we're doing it today, even
Right.
learn it, still teach all the IFSTA stuff.
Right.
But then we have certain facets that we're like, okay, that's the way IFSTA says we're doing
Right.
this, but
Right.
for testing purposes. But Sioux City,
Right.
this is the equipment we have. This is how we do
Right.
things. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's no way IFSTA can cover all the different
Right,
types of
yeah.
equipment that every department's going to have. They
Exactly.
try to hit everything generically, and kind of try to cover everything, but it was so it was kind of a unique program.
Yeah,
But,
yeah, and then I guess too. The nickname Gerr Bear, was that just something that came with you, or did you get that? How many guys get a nickname on probation? I mean, where
Well,
did Gerr Bear come
back in the day when I got on, Shane Reed was still on,
from? Okay.
and Shane Reed was the official nickname giver,
Yeah.
if you will. So he came up with
Absolutely.
Gerr Bear.
So Shane Reed did.
And it's stuck.
So it stuck, and that was good. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. There could be
there's-
way worse.
There's some other names I've heard that I wouldn't want to have.
No.
So I was okay with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. Shane Reed. Okay. So we got through probation. So after probation, floating. Where did you remember where you get your fourth man spot?
I believe I stayed right at. Well, I'm trying to remember if I stayed at 3s. I eventually went down to 1s. I was on truck 1 for a while, and then went to engine 1. I campaigned, shall we say, went into the assistant chief's office and put in my bid and why I needed to be the driver of engine 1, because at that time they assigned the drivers.
Yep.
So I I knew it was coming open, so I went in and pled my case and got assigned as the driver, which made the guy that was the third person at that time very unhappy because I jumped over him.
Because you jumped him.
Yeah, he had he had quite a bit more seniority than I did.
Yeah.
But so then I was there, and then eventually went back to 3s and spent most of my time at 3s.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Because I'm trying to remember. I think when I came on, I was an 02. I think you were a lieutenant on the truck. Maybe when I came
Truck
on.
3.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that was my first assignment as a lieutenant. Was on truck 3. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that was right in the transition of going to the new 3s.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep.
because during the move from the old 3s on 5th Street over, I was actually on vacation, so I kind of missed out on the,
Oh,
on the
man.
move.
I bet you were really bummed out about that whole process.
That
for
was
you.
horrible. It was horrible.
What a
that I-
shame.
Yeah.
When did you say we were moving?
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
take my vacation
That's why
for
I'm
that
taking
time
vacation,
next,
so, yeah.
next year.
Yeah.
Oh darn! I missed it.
Yeah.
You mean I get to come back off vacation to the brand new station? Oh, darn!
Yeah, with all the moving already done, I don't
Yeah.
have to do nothing. Yeah, that's rough. So where from 3s?
Then eventually, I went out to 8s.
Mm-hmm.
Had to be like really going back home then.
Yeah, back out the rear side.
Right.
I knew I knew that stomping ground out there pretty good. But
Right.
yeah, I think I poked the bear too many times and got to 8s. And at that time, it was kind of
Yeah.
we're putting you out to pasture.
Well,
type
Captain,
thing, 'cause we're mad at
Captain
you.
Marchand knows. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they used to call it 8s get trials. Hey, we got younger guys, and we just got a good one out there. You put a card in and come in. So
Yeah.
they don't hate it so much anymore.
Well, I say I gotta go out and check out the new Tajma 8s.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
no,
what it is.
it
It's
is.
Tajma.
Yes.
It really is.
It's
Yeah.
pretty nice.
Yeah. We're spoiled.
So,
We're just blessed out there. That's all.
So I was out there for just a little while, and then that's where I made captain. Then was when I was at 8s, and then moved over to the captain of Station 8.
Yeah, that's like when you're as captain and go to a new station and then you're digging through old stuff and to find stuff with I found a bunch of stuff with all their stuff still on our occasional Bennett stuff, everything. When you start digging back through it, you're like
Wow,
purging stuff, just like gone.
These guys have been retired for years. We don't
forever.
know
It's
that.
like just gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's funny just to see like the old which cab signed
Like
some for whatever.
90s that they used to wear and stuff that were tucked away here.
Maybe a lot of that stuff got thrown out during the construction.
I thought
If
I was gonna say I thought I
when they cleaned out
took
the
all
old,
mine out of there.
they cleaned out the old lockers and stuff. Yeah, found all that stuff.
Maybe I might have hid something here and there just for the next guys.
Oh, yeah.
Digging up in the locker, I was like, oh my God, what is this?
So, can you walk me through the testing process back then as a guy who just recently got on a list? What was it looking like back when you went to test for lieutenant? How did that process work back?
It was all it's pretty much the same.
Okay.
I mean, it was you still had to do the written test, you still had to do the oral board, and then,
Okay.
and then you interviewed, to get promoted.
Sure.
But it wasn't really a whole lot different.
Okay.
I think the progression of the fire service has gotten more advanced, in the questions that they're asking. I mean, it's not, identify a ladder. I mean, it's like,
Yeah,
the questions have gotten, it's
a lot
gotten
more managerial and
right,
supervisor
exactly. Yeah,
stuff.
it's changed a little bit, I think.
Okay.
But yeah, it was basically the same. I had a little bit of difficulty my first time testing, coming from the Air Force side of things. We when I was in North Carolina, we had guys that were robbing the fire station blind. They were actually firefighters that were there, but they took everything. I mean, back then, like tape recorders and slide projectors and we had no AV equipment, and they even caught a guy going through one of the civilians going through his wallet when he was out on a line standby for hot pit refueling, we called it back then.
Yeah.
But so I learned to lock down everything.
Yeah.
I mean, and even so, I remember at threes, one of the first times I was locking my locker, and they're like, "What? You don't trust us?" I was like, "No."
Yeah.
Am I supposed to? You know?
Right. Yeah.
And it's like when they say, "Hey, this is not, whatever. This is not the way it was before."
Yeah.
And the testing process for promotion for active duty was pretty intense. You had to take a written test on Air Force knowledge and a written test on whatever your career was, that knowledge, and then you had to go on a list, and then you're hoping for people, and they only do so many, and so it was very competitive, and it was almost backstab-ish, if you want to call it that, when you were testing, because everybody was your competitor. They were not anybody. They didn't want to help you.
Right. I was saying we weren't trying to help each other. Yeah.
So the first time I tested for Sioux City, then I had one of the guys approach me, and he said, "Hey, do you want to get together and study, to get ready to test?" And I was like, "No,
Right.
you're my competitor. Get away from me.
Sure.
Yeah.
You're who I'm trying to beat. So get away." And so I think it kind of, and I didn't put it quite that bluntly, but it was pretty close. Mm-hmm. And I think that kind of put a bad taste in everybody's mouth for me. I think I kind of got a little bit of a reputation of being that way, and it took a while for me to realize that, hey, we can all work together to accomplish this goal. There's no reason why we can't all work together and study and get on the list together and and make it, and that took a little while, but I finally got there.
Nice. Yeah.
But it was just a totally different situation.
Sure.
So. So the first time I was a lone wolf, and then when the word got out, and then everybody left me alone, they were like, "Yeah, we don't want you to," So it was, a little bit strange to do that, when everybody else is studying together, and I'm like, "Get away."
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. No, I get it.
But the process itself was pretty much, the same, I guess.
That's interesting to hear, because I know there's guys that get together and study for certain stuff.
Right.
Or like if you're somewhere where another guy's testing and they're like, "Hey, you want to throw each other some questions on here?" And it's like, yeah.
See, and it got to the point where I encouraged that, and I do now. I mean, anybody that's getting ready, I would encourage you. I don't care if it's lieutenant, captain, assistant chief, whatever it is.
Sure.
I mean, you're together as a family, and you need to work together that way and help each other out. I mean, if it happens to be that you help somebody get promoted and you don't, and oh well.
Then you can just hang that over their head the rest of the time too.
Remember that time I helped you?
I got you promoted.
Yeah.
So that's what I say to Baker all the time.
Yeah.
I'm like, you remember?
Well, to go back to that, that's that iron sharpens iron ship.
Oh man.
Yeah.
It's right there.
So it's
one guy helps another.
So eventually, got to the point, when I was studying for different things, I'd try to get study groups together on purpose, and we would actually organize them. We'd put the word out, "Hey, we're going to get together down at threes, on this night, and we're going to work on presentation skills for doing an oral board." And we actually set up video cameras and recorded them and gave everybody their copy so they could see it, and we talked about it. And so I completely did a 180 on that.
Yeah.
And I encourage everybody. Obviously, you need that. You
Good
need
advice.
And really good officers too.
Right.
Because I know I have like Captain Johnson and Lieutenant Dykstra, and they were like, "Hey, you ever want to practice overboard stuff?
Right.
We'll give you questions, give you feedback." I'm like, all right.
Yeah, and I think most everybody was that way, and that's kind of what it took, for everybody to open my eyes and say, "Listen, this is the way it kind of works, and you'll do better if you get along with everybody and cooperate and study together." And
Sure.
so, and it's kind of funny because it's been a joke before. We kind of laughed about it a little bit because I remember Dan Kogel was my driver when I was a lieutenant on truck 3. He was my driver.
Okay.
And he was, I think at that time he was the union president and doing all that, and I would hope, I think, that he would agree that I encouraged him to test. I mean, it was like, "No, man, you need to go. You are our officer. That's all." And then eventually he flew right by me, became an assistant chief, and so we kind of laughed about, that was, and there was no hard feelings there at all. I mean, the old me, there probably would have been, but, the new me was like, we just laughed, and I'm like, yeah, well, now I work for you. But, so,
Sure.
yeah, it was, but that's the way it is, but that's good.
Yeah. So when you're out at 8s, I know we were kind of talking about a little bit before and stuff with Fire Dusty was asking about it and stuff, and it was on because we drive by it's an apartment. They make it it's on a multi-level or a single-level apartments, but it's really for us to respond to it because the room numbers are really squirrely out there. But I tell the kids all the time, I'm like, well, that's the one that I remember you were on it, but I said Ancient 8, they had the fire on the backside. They came around the backside during the winter and clipped the building and wrecked the one side of it and stuff. So
yeah, we that was one of the times I got to talk to Chief Martin at that time, and he wasn't here all that long, but I got to say, hey, now that the fire's kind of under control, I kind of need to show you something. Yeah. And he was like, what? And I showed it to him, and I got to give him credit. He was like, yeah, that's just the way it is, And I explained what had happened. We came in. Basically, I told Randy Kleinberg was the driver. I told him, I kind of told him to come in on the wrong side. We came in in the north driveway. We should have probably done the south. And but we went to go around the back, and it was snowy and slick, and slid down into the building.
Yeah.
Scraped up along the top edge. And, but Chief Martin handled it well. He was like, no big deal. Just
what do you do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said that's just one of the things from playing the game, you gotta. So.
Yeah. Well, and that was in the E1, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And actually, and Randy had no idea that we even clipped the building, and when I showed Chief, then Randy was there, and he was like devastated. Oh. You would have thought I just punched him so hard in the gut. I mean, he was like he was so upset at himself, and I said, Randy, that's not your call, it's mine. I saw it happening, but I couldn't tell you to stop because I was afraid now we're going around the corner in snow and it's slick, and I don't want to get caught sitting next to the building, be stuck.
Right. Yeah, it's gonna be worse.
I said, I saw it coming, I told you to go, it's all 100% on me, but he was just devastated. It was
But that was a good one though. Right. I was on truck 1 that time, and we were coming down Villa heading to that address, and we could see the flames over the trees.
Right.
And, you got on scene and reported that heavy fire. And,
right.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah. And it was
Caps in the back going woo.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and we were there fairly quickly because it was pretty close to 8. But by the time I got reported, because it was pretty late at night, if I remember.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, we ended up. I think we got relieved at like 6 or we left the scene about 6 in the morning.
Yeah, so that was, and it was kind of unique how that layout for that building and firewalls and lack of, and but
like I said, they redid it, made it all from that nursing home or whatever to it's all apartments now.
Oh, it looks pretty nice.
I'll have to take a look. So
from the outside.
Yeah.
No, it's like with any of our apartments, right? You have some people that keep their apartment really nice and tidy, and the buildings and tidy, and then you have other people that not so much. But for the most part, it's But it is like the room numbers they're weird through there. So, so 8s. So then 8s, then promoted to captain.
Correct.
And where did you say you went after promoted, or you stayed at 8s?
Stayed at 8s. Stayed at 8s as the house captain, and that's where I ended up getting the training officer.
And then you went to the TO office. So what motivated that move, or what made you decide to do that? Because you took over after Teely, right?
Correct.
Yes. Because Teely was Teely got moved out of training.
Correct.
Yes, and they need somebody else to go in. So.
Yeah. I kind of, honestly, I rode Chief Everett's shirt tails into the whole thing. He's the one who promoted me into the training officer position. But what's funny, though, is I was going to say that when I made my first tour, if you will, through Station 3, when I got hired, back then it was Wayne Warwick was the training officer, and I saw what he was doing and what was going on, and so there's still a couple guys I remember. I looked at him and I said, yeah, that's the job I want. No, that's where I'm going to go.
Wow.
Wow.
And so,
Nice.
you know,
Yeah. You knew.
and it ended up, that's.
So that's where you wanted to like.
And it's funny, because I loved the training side of things. When I was doing the training with the Air Force, I mean, I just loved it.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I hated like theater or debate or anything in high school. I mean, I couldn't stand being in front of anybody.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where I just loved it. And,
Yeah.
that was kind of my passion was, where I could feel like I could make a big difference.
Yeah.
So
That's pretty neat. That's
yeah.
be like, that's where I'm going to be.
Yeah.
And that's where he ended up
Yeah.
being.
Yeah.
And then retiring out of the training office.
It's on
Yeah.
my vision board.
yeah, yeah. It's I mean, I would like to have been assistant chief at one time or another, but training was was definitely my goal.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So I guess with that then, what was kind of your favorite assignment as far as places stops and stuff? I know when we talk about going back and different things, even as you promote up and you're like, oh, I want to be an officer and stuff, and you get to an officer and you're like, I wish I'd stayed a driver. If you get to captain, you're like, man, I wish I'd stayed a third man. So there's days like that where it's like it's super fun sometimes, and I'll say even I like I enjoy my time as captain. I'm sure as Dusty does too. And when you have your house and you see the fruition of all the things that you implement and all your people working and managing and stuff, it's kind of a cool feeling. It's different, but a different kind of gratification. But like I go back to my time as a driver. I spent 8 years. Like I love being a driver.
I love driving
like
too.
I tell anybody,
So
like
fun.
driving is I really like being a driver.
One of my favorite things, believe it or not, was driving Engine 1 up Hamilton Boulevard during rush hour.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but it was just a complete mental rush.
Yeah.
There
Absolutely.
was so many things going on, and you're dodging traffic and everything. I used to love that.
Well, it's no
Driving
different
Engine 1.
than ripping the engine 4 down Hamilton rush hour. Same thing. Lots of air horn, lots of siren, lots of
Right.
screaming at people pulling out in front of you. Just like all, but there's so
You
much.
weren't
Like,
doing a majority of the screaming.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
For his life, you mean? Or?
But it's that like sensory overload. Just like
It
this,
is,
you have
yeah.
there's so much you have to pay attention to right in the moment, and you just feel like hyper focused and just like everything just.
And the
falls in.
faster you drive, the skinnier the rig gets.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah,
just
it stretches
pedal
out.
to the metal, baby.
That is physics.
That's just
That's
science.
just science right there.
That's right.
Because it is. It's,
yeah,
and
it
put a coat of
stretches.
wax on it,
Yeah.
it could go even faster. Just for less wind resistance. These are things, a type of proper, proper air
sounds good.
pressure on it, everything. But it all falls into place. So yeah, that's totally like, it's hard to describe. There's nothing else like it.
Yeah, it was. I used to love that. I mean,
Yeah.
it's, and as far as assignments, I mean, for me, because of like in the training, I mean, threes was obviously what I liked the most. But
Yeah.
and well, I was kind of a unique character, if you will, that I never left third shift
Wow.
until I made captain.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was on for for 15 years. I mean, I was always on third shift, never left.
Yeah.
So, and that's unusual.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I will say, like, majority of my time was first and third shift. I spent a small stint on second before, but now before I got promoted. But otherwise, this has been my longest time on second
Right.
shift. But yeah, same kind of thing. Not on one shift, but it's I don't know. But that is unique anymore now.
Yeah.
The guys just to be on a shift for that long. So
Right.
yeah, and out to 8. So I mean, being that you were a hazmat captain and in hazmat, but I mean, was hazmat your thing at all? I mean, you a little bit, but I mean, was hazmat? Did you ever like, yeah, I'm pretty good at this, is my thing, or is this like, all right, I'm at 8s, I have to do hazmat, so I might as well do hazmat?
It was more the I'm at 8s, I have to do hazmat.
Feels the oddity in the room.
Yeah.
Well, in any room, but like when it comes to hazmat, for sure.
Yeah, I did enjoy it. I mean, I really did. And I was doing hazmat before that anyway. But and I kind of joke with that. But yeah, I did enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's still, like I said, the training side with probationaries, that was my thing. That's what I liked the most. But I did enjoy the hazmat side of things. That was always kind of unique, and everything that you had to study and learn, and all the different subjects that you had to.
Yeah. There's a lot. It's
And there was always new equipment coming out.
yeah, and even now,
Sure.
and that's still even now it's still the same thing where we're looking at transitioning into different monitors and updating even the way the things we learn and stuff. And now with EVs coming and some of that hazardous stuff that's, with those and just the way we respond, it's always, it's still an evolving thing. And and as much as I, know or I'm really good at bullshitting sometimes. Like I could, I tell
way.
anybody, I tell anybody, like when you're good at, you could spew a bunch of whatever as long as you say it with 100% confidence.
Right.
That in the way you're presenting it,
Right.
anybody will believe what you're saying. Right. So
Right.
I mean, I could department-wide training. I just said a whole bunch of stuff. Sometimes I don't even remember what I said, but I know I said it good. Right.
I
More
blacked
good.
out. What
Right.
happened?
I don't
exactly.
see anybody here at all disagreeing with that.
Right. Well, yeah, exactly. So, like, what I'm saying is, like, even as much as it sounds like I know about hazmat, I still there's still hazmat guys like Rich Anderson. Rich will always be like, to me, is like
Right.
the hazmat, like the pinnacle of hazmat. The things that he could tell you what DOT container that is going down the road. I can't. I could find it in a picture book for you, but I can't
Right.
tell you what it is.
Sure.
And he knows that stuff. So, hazmat's one of those specialties. It is. There's a lot to know.
So you don't know that a gasoline tanker is a DOT 306 model?
Oh wow! Still got it, Jerry.
I was
I-
like, 82
and I said that-
toothpicks. There's 82 toothpicks. Rain Man over.
I said that with confidence because I'm absolutely not sure.
Yeah,
that's,
but see,
yeah,
just
but-
like that, you're like, see, there you go. As I say, I'll flat out no, I don't want to tell you, I'll look it up, but but I could go in the NIOSH and then spit out all the stuff and interpret and understand everything else that's in there or whatever. But like I said, just the ACs tested. If you guys paid attention to department-wide training, there's one answer in there that you would have gotten right. So
Yeah.
Jerry, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I have a question for you though. With
Okay.
all the years on engine versus truck, where do you stand on that? Because this is a very important debate Devin and I have.
Are you asking because you know what he's going to say already? Or?
I just want it officially documented.
Truck.
Yeah, because he liked going to all the fires. This guy gets it.
Interview's over.
Well,
Hey, Dusty.
I think
I'll do a
your mic
voiceover.
cut off.
Engine.
yeah. He his lips are. He lip synced. It looked like he said truck, but no, it came out
Did
engine.
Devin kick you under the table? I think.
I'll never admit to that. But,
Okay. All right. I'm sorry,
No,
Cap.
I was rubbing his leg going, Cap,
he paid me off before.
I figured he did.
He goes, I know Dusty's going to ask this question, so.
And it's priceless. I could pay any amount.
I don't know. I liked the pulling the hose thing. I really did, and I loved going in and fighting the fires. But I liked the aspect of everything that the truck is involved with. I mean, a lot of the rescue and that side of things. So I kind of like that. But it's
Elevator alarms.
elevator alarms are always awesome. Yeah,
I
Those
do
are
like
good.
to point out some of the trucks have the smallest district in town where they'll pull up out of the front apron, hang a right. Oh, we're driving around the block, going back in.
Call us
that
when you only truly
that
need
bungee
us.
cord only stretches so far, So around the station and back.
That's how I told Bert the other day. I said, now that for a CO call, now that we have the air monitor, we have our own blower. I told Bert, when we need coffee at 3:00 in the morning, that's when we'll call for.
That's right.
And they
so-
better come hot too.
That's
So
hot
everybody-
and ready. That's
everybody
when
wants
we
the
need that
truck,
truck. Yeah.
Yeah.
The heinous cause they heinous, baby. The heinous
I
cause they
got
heinous.
power strips. I can just plug a little Keurig on there, and we don't.
There,
really
there
don't
it
need
is
to do
right there. Engine guys like Keurigs
There you go.
and fruity coffee. Truck guys
Foo-foo.
like just straight diesel black coffee. That's what
That's the
it
way
is.
I am.
That's what it is.
It's that. You put anything in my
Right.
coffee, and I'm like, no.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, what are kind of some of the biggest changes, Jared, that you kind of saw over your career? Because how many years were you on altogether?
Counting Air Force and Sioux City, 36.
36. So what's kind of, with Sioux City Fire and stuff, I mean, because coming on, the late 90s, mid to late 90s compared to, where you retired in 18, you said?
Correct. Yeah.
There's some time span there, and
Right.
some stuff, different chiefs and everything. So what are some like the biggest things you feel like that you saw change-wise?
Well, some of the things you may hear from older guys, but by the time I got hired, we were already into the new bunker gear, two-piece. It wasn't. Never did have just the coat and a pair of boots.
Were guys still wearing that when you came on?
There was a couple that were, they were transitioning,
Yeah.
getting out of that, but I never did have that. So that was already done. Air packs were already implemented. but again, it was kind of a, I won't say it was an individual choice, but not everybody wore them. You know, because I remember we had a fire at, it was in a big roll-off dumpster, and we were actually up inside the thing trying to, you know, with pipe poles trying to dig through and get, you know, get everything completely out. I had my air pack on. My officer did not. And when they found out what was in the dumpster, he had to go get tested.
Oh,
I did not,
yeah.
because, you know, I was protected.
Right, you're protected, yeah.
So, but before that, he gave me a hard time, you know, about being a big wimp and
Yeah.
and no, you know, not in terms like that, of course.
Right, but, yeah.
But he let me know, you know, about you wearing an air pack and blah blah. And listen, I'm going to wear an air pack. I don't care. you
Yeah.
know, and so that was beginning to transition, whereas now, you know,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, people, I think, look at you funny if you're not wearing it. Now,
well,
you
they
know?
should.
Yeah.
You know, they really
Absolutely.
should. You know, and probably one of the big changes was in the overhaul stages. You know, it used to be where, you know, you didn't wear anything then.
Yeah.
You just go in,
Yep.
and start doing your thing, and then, you know, eventually found out, well, this is
Worse.
when it's worse.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So that was probably a big change. Of course, equipment. You know, going switching from steel tanks wearing on your back, where it was, you know, it felt like you were wearing a building on your back, to,
Yeah.
you know, much lighter weight. Pass devices was a big, you know, that's a big change. And I don't know now, do you guys have like a GPS locator built
No.
into your?
We
'cause
just
I know
know
that's
about it, but
Yeah, that's
Not
an
quite
option
yet.
that's
Yeah.
coming for
I
sure.
would
Well, I
think
know
in
it's
the next
there. I've heard, you know,
generation.
that it was.
Yeah.
That's.
We
you
do
know,
have
that's a big-
thermal imagers on the officers in the third band.
Right.
Like thermal built right into the, you know, with our G1s built right into your pressure gauge and stuff.
That's awesome.
So,
Yeah. So that's a big change. You know,
Yeah.
the thermal imaging, obviously, that was a huge. I remember when we got our first one, and it was as big as a laptop with a handle on the bottom.
Yeah.
You know, it was just a massive thing that you
40
had.
pounds.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
yellow bullets.
Yeah, because the Ballards, they had like two of them, one on
Right.
each truck, and that was pretty much it. Just
Yeah,
like
to
but
double hand it.
Yeah, he did. I mean, it was, yeah. And
1 minute battery.
life. Yeah, it's like battery life was questionable.
The first thing you did was stick 3
Yeah.
batteries in your
Yep.
coat pocket.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pop it back.
So, you know, that was, I think probably the most changes that I saw that I think are awesome is just everything dealing with, you know, the firefighter safety.
Yeah.
You know, the SCBAs, the pass devices, the thermal imaging, you know, all those type of things. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all.
Well, and we had, and even if you look at when Martin came, because there's a lot of things that we do now we consider the norm that when Martin started wasn't, you know, because he changed our hose loads to the flat loads for hose versus the accordion that we used to do. The fire alarm response is cutting it down to just an engine and a truck, and even our fire responses to add that third engine and stuff that, you know, what else? I think I'm trying to those are just the basic. I think T-shirts. I think he
Station
changed it.
toning
The
was a big
station
one.
toning was right away. I think I can't remember if it was him or who implemented the T-shirts all day. Because I mean, just something that's that simple and stuff. But you know, Martin, there was a lot of things that got initiated him, you know, that way. And then whenever it came, you know, of course, policies and culturally changed so much and
Right.
stuff for us for going forward now. With Chief Collins coming in, it'll be exciting to see what
Right.
he's going to do and how many changes. But yeah, there's still, I mean, you know, like I said, you spend a lot of time, but that you were still working with a lot of that, the old guard or the old way to do it, and the older assistant
Right.
chiefs and stuff. To you know, to when you retired was kind of where, you know, well into like some different transitional stuff and
Yeah,
everything.
and I remember, you know, large diameter hose was something that was new. It was coming in, because I remember we had a house fire over on the west side. Engine 1 got there first and reported that, or excuse me, Engine 4 would have gotten there first and said that was a fully involved, you know, structure. So we show up with Engine 8, and I can't remember who it was, but I said, you know, hey, catch the hydrant, use a 5-inch. So we laid one at 5-inch and whatever. So anyway, at the critique afterwards, when I was talking about what we did, and I got there and it said something about laying 5-inch, and the assistant chief at the time, he looked at me, he says, "Why did you choose that?" And I said, "Well, just because. That's,
Yeah.
You know, that's what we're, you know, that's good to use that. And he goes, no, that takes too much time. You were wrong. You should not use 5-inch, and you should have used whatever. I said,
Oh my.
I said, but it came in as a fully involved structure. We need water.
Yeah.
You know, and he actually chastised me in front of everybody, you know, and gave me a hard time because he was, again, way old school, you know, and 5-inch was not the way to go.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I don't agree with you.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
and I had to let it go because I would have lost that.
Right.
obviously.
And now we use it all the time,
Right.
almost exclusively for
Right.
supply lines, and we're pumping through it too
Yeah.
into ground
Oh, yeah.
monitors.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have ground monitors we can pump into it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just,
Yeah,
right.
the new engines have a 5-inch discharge.
No, really?
Yeah.
Discharge. Nice.
So like for pumping into the aerials. And,
Right.
Yeah.
See, that's perfect, you know. And, but back then, you know, when it was brand new, it was something that was new, and some people are very resistant to
Yeah.
change.
Well, yeah, because even to the point that our 2.5 inches set up as either a horizontal standpipe or a with a nozzle on it.
2.5
So it's
inch
set up for a
line.
2.5 inch attack line.
Attack line,
You know,
yeah.
so I mean that's like for supply, that's not even a thought, and then the 3-inch
Right.
just in case. But well, even with the 2.5 to 5-inch adapters now for even on a 2-butt hydrant or anything like, I mean, yeah, we're so engraved in 5-inch for
5-inch,
so
yeah.
much stuff now that. Yeah, that's
So that was a
foreign
big change,
thought.
you know.
Yeah. So it's you know, it's amazing when you look back and just see the things that now in the new probies and stuff coming on, the way they learn it. Like we're like, it wasn't that long ago that was that manner of thinking wasn't a thing. You know,
Right.
now we take
Yeah.
it as just the norm. You know, for these guys. Just, you know, we talk about even the probies. We see it funny now in these unattached personnel now that are getting floated onto the ambulance. And for them, it's, you know, it's different because they've been
Right.
on for so many years, and now all of a sudden they're like, I got to another shift on I gotta be on the medic unit kind of thing. But, you know, a couple of years from now, when you know our unattached is just going to be the normal thing, they're not going to know any different.
Right.
You know, so
Yeah.
it's some of those changes. Any really memorable calls, good or bad? Like ones that really stick with you?
I have a tendency a lot of times to, primarily to remember the ones that leave the biggest impact on me are the negative ones. You know, that, I remember back, it started immediately when I was on probation. There was a fire over in the Greenville area. I was on my 1 day of time with the Fire Bureau. And so we got called out to respond for that. And I remember sitting back there at the Fire Bureau car watching as this fire raced through the house, and there was actually a woman holding her baby out the window, and they kept yelling at her to, you know, drop the baby, and she wouldn't do it, and she pulled the baby back in, and they all died in this fire. And, you know, so the guy that was showing me with the Bureau, he goes, well, I guess your day with the Bureau's over, grab your gear, because you're going in to help bring them out. So, I mean, you know, so stuff like that, I mean, it just immediately, you know, started. And then there was a fire out on the west side. Came in, I was riding back seat of engine 1, and it came in as a couch on fire on a porch. Well, as soon as we turned to go up West 4th, and you can see the smoke rolling, I mean, that's like, that's not a couch. And so we got there and caught the hydrant on the way in, like we always did then. And the officer came around and he looked at me and he said, and I was only been on about 2 years, so I'd only been floating for just a little over a year.
Yeah.
And he looked at me and he said, listen, I just got told that there's kids in the house. We need to make an interior attack, and this thing's blowing out everywhere.
Yeah.
He says, we need to make an interior attack. Are you good? And I said, let's go. So,
Nice.
you know, and then so we went in. We eventually found them both. He carried out one, and I was able to carry out the other one, and they both of them did not survive.
Yeah.
So, and I remember that, and part of the reason I remember that is because we were at that time we had to attend the critical incident debriefing.
Yep.
Right. So we're all up in the upstairs of the old threes and sitting around, and I had gone through a lot of counseling because of that, past history stuff that we can get into if you want. But so anyway, you know, it's like everybody, you know. So I started talking. I mean, I just started laying out, you know, that, hey, this is what I think I did wrong. This is what I think, you know, we could have done, blah blah blah, and on and on. And then everybody else just sat there. So when we got done, and we walked down, a guy pulled me up to the side and he said, listen, we have to go to these things. We don't have to talk. Don't talk.
Wow.
He said, you need to be quiet.
Yeah.
You know, this is just a formality. We're checking a box. We're just showing up. And I'm like, but what if we need to talk?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I've been pretty good at building walls, you know, and kind of putting everything, you know, back, and it has not affected me. I've been lucky that way. But I still need to talk, and there's other people that might need to talk.
Yeah.
And I never understood that. And that's part of the reason why I tried to help push pretty hard for the peer support side of things. Because I just never understood that. You know,
Yeah.
that didn't make any sense to me. I mean, it's like, this is traumatic,
Yeah.
you know, to everybody.
Well,
And
yeah.
So, but, so I remember that.
Yeah.
But, you know, and then of course there's other fires that, you know, mostly involved, you know, life, you know, did pull somebody out of one time, but, and they survived. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of unique.
If you can do that even once, that's
Right.
what we're here
Yeah.
for, and that's
Yeah, and it was, and that was a bad fire over on the west side. I mean, we showed up and this lady standing outside yelling at us, screaming at us, and it was myself, and I don't usually use a whole bunch of names, but I don't think you would care. But it was Dan Davis that was third with me, and she kept screaming, "My daughter's in there! My daughter's in there! Get my daughter!" So we went in and we just immediately did a search of the top floor, and we found a woman, and Dan and I pulled her out, and we got her out, and then she goes, "That's not my daughter.
Oh.
That's, you know, that was a friend or whatever. Well, my daughter's in there." And it's like, well, I said, "Where's your daughter at?"
Yeah.
Well, probably downstairs. Okay. So by the time we got in and got all the way down there, it was her daughter had passed away and her dad. But when she kept saying her daughter, she didn't look, the lady who didn't look that old, but her daughter was, you know, probably in her 20s or 30.
Yeah.
I was expecting a little kid.
Sure.
But it was, you know, a full-grown woman,
Yeah.
basically. But so that was, you know, a unique one where,
yeah.
you know, and that's one
You're
of
like,
those.
we got her.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got her out. And it's like, no, that's not. And it's like, dang, you know. So that's when we knew we had to go into the basement. But
Yeah.
so yeah, there's a lot of.
That's another thing, like having Marshan said, that people coming on now with the peer support, they don't even know any prior history
right.
where that wasn't a thing. Or
Right. So
you just didn't talk, or
Yeah.
got told you will not talk. And
Yeah.
And I don't know if you were on. I'm sure both of you guys were, but way back when, and that's when the union they started pushing the peer support stuff a little bit. And we had some people in for training. I was the training officer at the time, and I decided that, all right, this is an opportunity for open up about myself and some of my past history, and talk a little bit about me. And so I tried, and I failed miserably mentally for myself. I just kind of felt like everybody either thought I was full of crap and just saying it because it was part of the training or whatever. I just didn't feel like it was being received very well, and I curled back up, you know, basically. And I just said, I'm not going to do this anymore, but I'm still going to push it from, you know, the sidelines, basically. So that's when, you know, when we had this peer support team, and then, you know, DJ Wynn, you know, I kind of put everything on him. And I don't know if I ever actually specifically told him, you know, that, hey, I want, you know, but he was so good at it.
Yeah.
And people listened to him. He was such a great guy.
Yep.
And I was like, yeah, you need to run with this. And like I said, I don't think I ever really specifically said that, but that's kind of what I was hoping for. So, you know, now, and I see everything, and I watched the interview you guys did with Paul,
Yeah.
and I'm like, yes,
Yep.
yeah,
that's where it needs to be. You know,
Yep.
this needs to be there. And yeah, so that's probably the biggest change, and it has nothing to do with firefighting,
right.
but it has all to do with firefighters.
Yeah.
You know, that's probably the biggest change that I like seeing,
Yeah.
is the peer support side of things.
I think
So,
you're not alone.
Yeah.
A lot of the retirees that end up coming out
Right.
and talking, and just even at normal functions now, like we do the retiree breakfast stuff, you'll get talking to guys, and they're like, that's probably the best thing this
Right.
place did.
Yeah.
Now.
I mean, and you have to. I mean, you have to realize that, you know, and again, it's a different, you know, a whole different scenario. I mean, a lot of the people that I came on with that were officers when I came on were probably more from the Vietnam era, you know, and they were, you know, they were subjected to all kinds of bad things, you know, and they were not allowed to talk about it. You didn't, you know, you held it in, and a lot of that's why we have so many, you know, suicide. You know, I mean, I'm assuming, I haven't looked at the numbers for many years now that I've been retired, but I'm assuming firefighter suicide is probably still way up there.
Yeah.
There's more data on it now, and they're saying it's starting to surpass the veteran suicide.
Is it? Yeah.
So
I mean, I'm veteran, you know, fire and then police, obviously. I mean, that was always way up there, and it was like, we need to do something about
And,
it.
you know, and what do you think, Chip, from the, you know, from you being a peer support guy and stuff? I mean, because the job hasn't changed for the most part. I mean, you know, we've gotten, equipment's gotten better, you know, safety things like that have gotten better, and we have resources. It's just like because of either you would think at some point we would hopefully see that decline. I mean, is this just like the culture of the country, or is it because we're actually tracking
to collect data on it?
Yeah.
It was probably just as bad as before or worse.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Well,
That's the problem.
And it's still getting people to realize it's okay to open up. I mean, it's still a masculinity thing. I mean, it's still, you know, knowing that, hey, you know, it's okay for me to open up and have emotion about what just happened.
Yeah.
You know, that's probably one of the biggest things. And I did have, after I kind of did my talk for a little while there, I did a few of the sessions, and that's when I quit. And I mentioned that to somebody later, and I did have somebody approach me and say, listen, what you said made a world of difference in me, and they went and got some help. And
Nice.
you know, and whatever. And so I know it affected at least one, which is awesome.
One, and that makes
But and I said something. I said, well, I always just felt like it wasn't, you know, like I said, they either thought I was crap, you know, full of crap, or if I was, or whatever. But they said, no, I think it was just the fact that people weren't ready for that yet.
right.
You know, they weren't ready to open up to that, and you know, that side of things. And it's still, I'm sure it's still a stigma thing a little bit, maybe not near as bad.
I think a lot of it is self-stigma.
Right.
You know?
Oh yeah.
People weren't ready to face that reality for themselves.
Right.
Not as much as, you know, we talk about, oh, what are other people going to think of me? We try to normalize it so much now that it's part of, you're going to have, you know, things
And that's the
you
way
gotta
it needs
deal
to
with.
be. And it needs to be to where dealing with it is just no different than doing cleanup and getting your rig back ready to go.
Absolutely.
You know? Okay, now that that's done, we need to talk about this. We need to deal with it.
Yeah.
You know, and you need to feel free to be able to open up. You know, rather than having somebody chastise you and make fun of you. You know.
On the flip coin of that, there's a new thing coming with people I've seen that is there something wrong with me because I don't have something wrong with me?
Wow.
Yeah.
It's
So
like
that's a
that,
whole
almost
one
like
you don't even think about when it's started, and now, you know, I'll get phone calls on the peer support team is like, hey, this happened, and I'm like, oh yeah, you need to talk about it, and they're like, no, I don't feel anything bad about that. Is that a problem? And I'm like, no, I'm
Right.
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. Is there
You don't have to be
now,
messed up from the stuff. I mean, it
make
just
your own problem in your own head that you're
now
not
is there
feeling the
something wrong
emotions
with
that
me
everybody
because there's
else is
something
like.
not wrong with me.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I
No.
feel.
But
almost-
6 calls from now, maybe there will be.
Maybe.
Right.
Yeah, and maybe all 6 of those will hit you at once, and that's when you need to be able to, and that's what's important. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like there's just little things that just pierce your armor.
Right.
You know, most of that stuff just bounces off, but it's just
Right.
that one little thing
Well,
that
and I-
could be a little thing, but it's a big
And
thing.
it's usually something that somehow relates to you directly.
Right.
99% of the time, that's probably something that involves a child of some kind. If you're a parent, and then you have a fire call where there's a child involved or a severe, vehicle accident or whatever, you know, it's those are the ones that usually get you, you know. But there's usually something. It could be, who knows, you know, maybe it reminded you of a family member or whatever. It could be just anything. It could be a trigger, but.
Yeah. Yeah. Just that sound.
But it's
smell,
always,
or
I think
emotion or
everybody,
whatever, you know.
everybody, and I remember talking about it before, but if you hear that there's a child involved, everybody steps it up a notch.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming it's still the same.
Still
way.
the same.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that is you for some reason, you know, that makes you just work a little, you know, a little harder, a little, you know, a little quicker.
Yep.
So,
Absolutely. Yeah. No, that like you said, that peer support it is a good thing, because it's, as we attract the more data and find out that stuff and everything, it's just that I think in culturally that change, that not only we take care of ourselves physically but mentally, but because that seems like such a far off and just antiquated and almost barbaric thought process of like we don't talk. They're here. Right. We have to come here, check a box. We don't talk. You don't talk. You don't say nothing, because it's like, what do you then? And like you said, and then what? And that's where, you end up with these guys that feel alone, and then the suicide numbers and stuff. So it'll be interesting to see in a few years, with the cultural change and stuff like that, if those numbers hopefully start to come down, and some of that addiction stuff and everything, and divorce rates and all that kind of stuff, that because of the increase in peer support and the focus on mental well-being, that we see a ripple effect from that and stuff. So
yeah, I hope so. I mean, that's one of the things when I watched that episode with him, I was like, yeah, that's this is what I want to see and what I want to hear, and it started before I left, but it was still
infancy.
Yes, infancy, and it was working out. I mean, you need to have the right people in the in the right positions to be able to do that, and so.
Well, even some of the retired guys, to listen to them talk when they got off the job, but they got off the job, started sleeping, but even recognized or went and got help or went and saw a counselor after getting there, and they are a totally different person,
right?
And you're like, and it would be somebody that you never in a million years would have thought. Not that, but they were just one that always held it in, just different, and for them to be like, no, this was to go and do that, and they feel so much better, and it's like a thing. It's like, it's that self stigma, that self realization, because nobody knows when you go and talk to to have a conversation with SHIP or any of the peer support team. It's like, it's not like the whole department knows that you went and had a conversation.
No.
You could go forever and you'd be like, oh yeah, I had this happen, so you went and saw a counselor for a couple weeks or a couple months. You're like, oh wow, really? No idea. So it's getting over that some people, as I say, it doesn't mean every single call you have to do that, but it's going to be that one is going to come that's it. That you're, for whatever reason, just does it to you.
Yep. Yeah. So appreciate you for doing. I know you're a big part of that. So the whole entire team, obviously.
I think anybody on that team's got a huge amount of passion for it, which
and I think
helps.
It's like. It helps me helping other people in that aspect, because it was a lot of self-realization on, okay, whether you like it or not, the job changes you. Right. That's just a straight fact. I don't want to even get in a debate with anyone about it, because I'm right. So it's recognizing how it changes you and how to deal with that. That's the biggest part I think we need to get out to people that are, especially now, coming on and don't even know what they're getting into. It's like, hey, you're going to change.
Right.
Yeah.
And it can be for good or bad, so let's make it good,
and
how to work those things out.
And one of the things that I tried to help a little bit too was when I was in the training office, I got approached by, when they started the family support side of things. And I had the lady that was in charge of that, talk to me about it, and she was trying to give all of the spouses a book. And I can't remember the name of the book at all now, but we talked about it a little bit, and I said, I'll buy all the books.
Yeah.
You just tell me how many you need, and so I thought that was important, because that's who a lot of us are going to rely upon when you go home, and your spouse is going to be, it's either you're either going to exclude them, which is going to lead to the other problems you talked about, or you're going to include them. And if you're going to include them, then they need to understand and know what's going on,
right?
And how to deal with that. And so I was trying to help, from that angle a little bit. And I don't know if they're still doing that or not. I have no idea. That was many years ago.
Yeah, they've still got the family things going on, and they'll meet every now and then, especially when we get a lot of newer people on, inviting the spouses or whatever out for a gathering at some time.
Because this career is, it's not only a fire career, but it's we have a fire family, but everybody's families are part of that family. It's all.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
But,
who are some of your favorite people to work with, or some of the people that had kind of your biggest influences on you? I mean, who's your, mentors and stuff?
No, I hated everybody.
Yeah.
No, I'm just, no. Well, I don't know. I mean, obviously, towards the end of my career, I mean, I always obviously supported or appreciated the support from like Chief Everett. I mean, he put me into the position that I really wanted, and and helped support me to, accomplish the goals I needed to do. I mean, before that, I mean, I always, probation. I mean, I look at, people like Casina and Denny Capron was one that he was rough, but he was good.
Yeah.
And he helped me out at the very beginning. So, oh geez, there's just so many that.
Sure.
Randy Kleinberg, when he was driving for me, he was always good about talking to me. Ed was my go-to guy, like Ed Voloshin, by the way. So he was always my go-to guy because, like, every time I went to the National Fire Academy, something happened to him.
Yeah.
That's when it always happened.
Yeah.
The back door. The back door freezes up because water comes down and it won't close, and now the threshold's heaved up and you can't close the back door, and it's the middle of winter. And
Yeah.
I'm in Maryland, and he goes over and fixes it.
He's still the same exact go-to guy. Yeah. I think he always will be, though.
So, yeah, I mean, just I can't think specifically. I mean, there were so many people that helped guide, and that can be good or bad. I learned a lot of what not to do also,
Yeah.
But
Yeah, because sometimes that's maybe some of the even biggest influence is not so much a mentor that you learn from, but it's guys that you watch or learn how not to be or things that you don't want to be.
Right.
Yeah. Sometimes it's you get still valuable lessons from that. What are some of the, like as far as the training office or captain and stuff? What are some of your biggest, the peer support? Like I said, you pushed hard for that. Is a big accomplishment to see a program like that still in place. It's and very much a very important part of who we are as Sioux City Fire. But anything else like real big accomplishments or stuff like that you kind of are like this was my project, or this was something that I got started, or like that I really just kind of like your thing, kind of your baby, or something that's here. I don't know. I mean,
well, there's a couple different things. I mean, one, it doesn't necessarily have directly to do with the fire department, but St. Florian was a big thing. That was, and I think I filled every single board position on St. Florian, and I went to burn camp for 9 years and did that. So that was a big thing, again, helping with kids. But what Derek has done with that, Troball, by the way, is amazing.
Yeah.
And way back when I was either president of the board or vice president, we talked about trying to go statewide, and I did not have the vision for that. I just could not wrap my head around that, and that's probably when I decided not to be on the board anymore. It needed to be somebody that had a little bit more. Yeah. And where that's gone now, just amazing. Yep. Absolutely amazing. Really happy with that. And it's kind of funny how I got onto the board originally. It was I'm floating at Station 6, and they're having a St. Florian meeting in the kitchen. And I think it was Dan Colville at the time came out, and he says, "Hey, you ever thought about St. Florian, blah, blah, blah?" And I said, "Yeah." Well, I kind of kicked it around, and he yells out in the kitchen, "I found a new board member." I mean, that was
just that quick.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
So, like that I was on. But
yeah.
And probably the biggest thing, I think, was probably this training center.
Yeah.
That was, my office was over at Threes, and when the chief said, "Hey, this is kind of what I'm working on, and if we give up the other thing and we have, this building, and let's go take a look, and what do you think?" And I'm thinking, man, this is sweet. There's so many things we can do here. The bad thing is that it was just kind of a flip-flop trade, basically, that we gave up the other land and gave it to utilities, and so basically all we received in exchange with the building, the initial budget, was only what we were going to put into trying to fix up and repair the other training center. So I didn't really have a big
Yeah.
big budget to work with. But yeah, so getting things set up, getting everything going, trying to get stuff started with the training field, and getting the office over here, and everything. That was pretty.
Yeah,
Pretty big.
because you would have brought in. Did you bring in the first Connex box trailers? Then the trailers that we got down at
Right.
the training tower. That was when you were training officer.
Right. Yeah. So I originally it was going to go into the back corner over there, and then USAR decided to take that over. So we took the boxes out of there and put them outside, and then we went through and so we had either probate training or USAR training that would go through and cut the holes in the boxes, and then I'm the one who welded the framework and made the windows and everything else.
Oh.
And again, that's because my budget was minimal.
Right.
So I tried to do what I could with what I had. Honestly, it was a bunch of crap, but but it was there anyway, so it was something. And then with the different progress teams that Chief Everett set up, one of them was figuring out about training props. And that's one of the teams got the mobile trainers at that time, and that's so we got those for free basically.
Oh.
So that was that was all a grant.
Yeah.
So that was nice.
Yeah.
And again, those aren't the best, but they were way better than what we had.
Right.
And so that was pretty nice. Addition. Getting those here, going with that. And one of the things, a lot of people gave me a hard time about it when I initially did it. But and hopefully it's still used. But the rehab bus, is that still being used?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That I pushed pretty hard for that.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm sorry, I gotta do this. My first 2 weeks we had a house fire right up the street from Threes on 2nd Street, and it was like the 2800 block of 2nd Street, right around there, and on the turning up to go actually to Ruston, and it was a hot, humid night, just a shitty night, and attic fire, nasty, getting up in there. I'm just beat, kind of, and you show up as rehab, and I'm like, we get rehab at every fire? This is gonna be sweet, and sit out on the bumper, have a Gatorade or something, and go back, do what you got to do. And wasn't as I planned, but at least there was something,
Right.
and now to see where that's come, we just kept piggybacking off that, and that's standard now.
Yeah.
Right.
Especially during the bad months, it's rehab's getting called out. It's holy crap.
Yeah, it rolls.
Just to see that
Right.
change alone, but to be a part of the kind of where you get looked at and you're like, kid, this ain't the way it is all the time.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, yeah.
okay. They're working at it, but
It used to be that I would show up with
the pickup.
Yeah, and show up.
That's
and
what
pull-
it was.
Yeah,
but
pull
I'm
everything
even
out.
that, I'm like, dude, this is sweet. We're doing
Show up with water and
Yeah.
Gatorade and frozen
folding
Snickers.
chairs and Snickers. Yep, the Snickers bars.
I remember one time I showed up because the Snickers all disappeared somehow, but it was not me, I swear. But I showed up one time and there was no Snickers, and man, you would have thought
Oh, once you
they
give
pretty
it
much
to
just
them.
they just wanted me to leave. Everybody was like, they were
Just might as well
people
turn
were
around
mad.
and go.
Where's my Snickers? I don't have any, man.
You're not
you want a
you when
Gatorade?
you're hungry.
No, I do not want a Gatorade. I want a Snickers. But yeah, I mean, so and doing that was okay, and I would respond. I did take that vehicle home, and I could respond from home, but then I still had to come down here to the training center and then get a cooler, and get some water and get Gatorade and whatever we needed and try to get everything and then go out. And that's when the bus, we started using that bus. We were using it all the time for the ice rescue.
Oh, yeah.
When we did the ice rescue training, because that way you could get people in,
Yep.
keep warm, and you could whatever. And plus it had, the audiovisual stuff. And I mean, it was just
projectors
perfect,
and,
Yeah.
And the PD was fine when they were like, no, use it. And so I got trained in that. I got licensed in it. I had to get because it had the seats in it. It was funny because I went out to get licensed on it, and she was like, if this had emergency lights on it, it would just grandfathered in basically like with a fire rig.
Yeah.
But it's a bus, and it's got seats in it, so you have to get passenger endorsement and blah, blah. And I'm like, are you kidding me? So, but anyway, I went through and got it, and then eventually it was funny. I was using it more than the PD was, and actually the PD then came to me to help train their guys. So I had a couple of their guys come, hey, we need to get licensed on this, so run me through it and everything. And I was taking them out so that they could get licensed on this thing, but it just wasn't getting used. And so I kind of jokingly said something to now Chief Mueller. Back then he was lieutenant on the SWAT team, and I said something about that bus. I said, man, that'd be sweet to have that. I mean, I've got ideas for setting up for rehab and everything else. And he says, I tell you what, if I make chief, you can have it. And he made chief, and I said, do I get it?
Yeah.
And he goes, you can have it. I wasn't kidding. I don't want it.
Oh, wow.
So I went to Chief Everett, and Chief Everett goes, I don't want that thing.
Yeah.
No way. And he said, and so I kept pushing him, and he finally says, okay, let's go out and take a look and tell me what your plans are. Mm-hmm. So I told him about gutting it basically and putting in a dirty room and a clean room and and putting in a fridge that would have you could have stuff ready to go. You didn't have to it didn't take any time at all, and you could be and so he was like, okay, we'll put it so because it had to be transferred then to our fleet. And then so you have to pay for that. And, but. Yeah, I was pretty happy with that. And there was,
I'll tell you what, that thing was a godsend this summer on the flood days. All day in a suit when it's 98 degrees and 100% humidity, and then you go sit in that thing, and it's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was.
Thank gosh.
I was pretty happy with that. I mean, and it was one of those things where it was like, you can have, but you have no budget.
Right.
So I went out there and all the police department decals and stripes and everything, I pulled all that stuff off myself. Did everything, got it ready to go, and then we were able to actually, I was wanting to do, all kinds of fancy logos, all kinds of things. I wanted to put rehab on it and everything else, and the chief was like, rehab makes it sound like it's, like you're doing a drug deal or something. And he goes, this is what we're going to do. We're going to put one red stripe down it and put our logo on it, and that's it. And I'm like, what? That's it? Come on, that's going to be boring. It needs to be.
Captain Bennett wanted the gold leafing around all the trim.
I wanted like flames down there. It would have been cool. But.
Yeah. No. Well, that's pretty awesome. Well, and two, if you think about even just our target solutions and our blitz training, because that was when you were in the training office too, right?
Oh, yeah, I knew that would come up.
Oh man, should we take a break before that?
Because it's a bad thing. I just it's a tracking our resource and everything. But I mean, it's still how we're doing how much of our training today, and
we're not going back.
So, I mean, I can tell you the whole idea behind that is we were trying to get ready to. Why am I just drawing a blank on it? ISO.
Yep.
So we were trying to do ISO stuff. At that time, I think we were going to be happy to just go to two.
Two. Yeah.
But we had our initial fake mock run through with ISO people.
Yeah.
They came in. So I went through the guidance that I had that they had provided on the training side of things, and I printed out what I could. Mm-hmm. And, we were using the old Microsoft Access database that was created back when, and they did a good job. One of the assistant chiefs had made that up with somebody from Western Iowa Tech.
Yep.
And they made that, and they did a good job, but it wasn't necessarily very user-friendly when it came to extracting the data that you needed. Mm-hmm. So I printed out what I had, and the guy, I mean, he was nice enough, from ISO, and he said, okay, yeah, you kind of hit it, but you're missing this and you're missing that, and you need to be able to prove all these different types of training, and you're not proving that, and so I took a big hit on that, and that bothered me, that we lost points because of that. So that's when we said, hey, we got to do something where we can track it and everything else. And so one of the teams, the technical team, did a little research, and somebody, I won't say who, but he's sitting pretty close to me, is the one who found Target Solutions. So as much as I get blamed for Target Solutions, but no, so it was basically
a pop-up ad on Instagram.
Yeah.
Not really.
No, it was looked at
was a
more
thing,
as a
yep.
way to be able to input all the data we need. It was customizable. I could hit all of the categories that they needed for ISO, and also be able to provide training without necessarily having rigs on the street all the time, which maybe I kind of pushed it too hard and went overboard a little bit with some of the in-house training, doing it on the computer. But it was a good, easy way to get hours that counted. Made it very trackable. I could print everything out by hours. I could prove, because they're, officers had to have so many hours, and drivers had to have so many hours, and you had to have so many hours in all its specialized disciplines and whatever. And I could pull all that out and print it out and have it within minutes.
Yeah.
And then if we didn't have something in there, I could add it. It was so it fit perfectly for what we needed, at the time. And I think I've heard that maybe got told that maybe you guys are going to back off some of the online.
Well, I think we're
been an
starting to
ever-changing
find
thing,
like
right?
a good balance between all,
Yeah.
because there are
Right.
some trainings that even now we end up doing it in person. We're like, why did we come here and do this? Why
Right.
couldn't we
Yeah,
just
for sure.
done it online, or somebody
Right.
came to the station? There are other classes though that just to get enough out of it and
Right.
not going
Right.
clicking right through, that it's good to have in person. So I think it's just finding that
Right.
that balance of what's really relevant to have, that you need an instructor and you need in person versus stuff that we can just do.
And that's
at
one of the things
firehouse and
I
stuff,
hope.
so.
I mean, I don't know, but that's one of the things I hope that Rich Anderson did when he was in here, was that he was trying to help push towards that.
Yep.
Where there was more of a balance, of the training. And I know he was big into the more hands-on training, which was cool.
But it was, when Target Solutions, when it came, I mean, it was a new thing. It was neat, it was a way to do it. And again, anytime you're going to bring in something new, it's going to have speed bumps, it's going to have
Right.
things, and even with that blitz training, the way, that when that team came together, the original thought process was that was going to be like almost like a quarterly thing,
Right.
where it was, otherwise we'd have your Target Solutions online stuff, and then once a quarter it'd almost be like a giant scenario
Right.
of all specialties and everything like that, where you would run through, so then you would get all of your hands-on stuff, but it was to again limit the amount of time of everybody having to come here, how many, or threes, how many times and stuff, so you had more time for inspecting and hydrants and all the other stuff that you were responsible for doing. So the blitz training kind of mutated or migrated away from what it was and stuff. So I mean,
Right.
yeah, it was, it was something that came about, but I mean, we're still using it, and we're finding that balance of
Right.
between the,
Well,
the
and
two
you're
of them
and you're
stuff,
gonna you're gonna have to continue using something.
right,
Yeah.
You have
to
to have
track all, because you got to track all that data.
Right,
and
you
all
have
that
to have some
information.
kind of records management.
Yep.
And that's, and I was pretty happy when we actually had ISO come in then, that I never lost a single iota of a point. Mm-hmm. We maxed it out for the training side of things. And so that made me pretty happy. I was pretty.
Perfect.
Yeah.
But that's kind of, how it originally started. Like you said, it was, I probably took it a little too far from the going away from hands-on and more towards that. But it was just so quick and easy to get
Yeah.
hours.
Yep.
And to get caught up to where we needed to be.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, I could not prove that officers were getting, I can't remember, it was like 12 hours a year, I think.
Right.
that you had to have on specific officer
Yeah.
categories. And it's like, what counts and what doesn't count. I mean, I was on the phone a lot with ISO and asking them when we were setting up training, okay, this is what I want to do. Does that count? And, can we use this for training? Can you use it dual purpose training? Can you
Yeah.
count it twice? If you're doing hazmat, can you use it as command training or whatever? I mean, so
Yep.
it was a learning process, but
Yeah.
Sure.
it was definitely a huge bonus, to our department to be able to have that there, to track it. So
Yeah. Do you need one, Ship?
Can we do a quick break?
I think it's yelling at Fox for
You were
doing it.
laughing on the video.
I still remember the sound of the door opening and that
Gush of
I don't
thousands
know,
of water.
thousands of gallons. Because you were definitely getting 1,000 GPM coming out of the truck into that, and
And it went for a while.
yeah, probably I bet we had 5 minutes worth of flow into that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it
The
probably is a
children.
good.
Leave it to
Children.
him.
I think
I
we
mean,
did
he
take a
was
break
always
before.
so good at getting under my skin.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
was good at it.
He loved it. Loved it. That's another perk of this job is that you find like certain people that you like, and then you find ways to push all their buttons and
Right.
stuff. I know Devin's got a few buttons.
Yeah.
Too,
You
that-
find people you like and you push all the buttons enough to where
Nothing-
they hate your guts.
Nothing gets to me.
And then you go home satisfied because
Yeah.
I had a good day today because I got to play games with.
Devin's a lot stronger than me, so I gotta be a little bit careful.
It's mainly your driver that usually knows the right thing to say at the right time. Brandon DeRocher.
Yeah.
Yeah, he always knows what to do to set
Oh
me
yeah,
off.
yeah, and it's like he'll look at me and then press Devin's buttons, and then I
Sit
start
back and watch,
laughing.
yeah.
Yeah. I got the best seat in the house. I just watch the fireworks.
I got a good one though. For the next time Brandon decides to go, I know he's not listening to this.
We'll make him listen.
I'll show you off air
Oh,
what I got.
nice.
So when he wants me to go nuclear, I'm dropping
There you
it.
go.
See,
Got the hand hovering over the big red button.
ready to go.
I'm just waiting.
just sweat beating down. See, that's another constant here too with the fire service is certain aspects like that will never change.
Right.
No.
Harassment. I mean, no, you can't use that term, can you?
No, you could use. Well, it's harassment. Yeah, maybe it depends. But like,
yeah.
maybe not. But maybe.
Yeah, so
Feuding, a bunch
We
of
could.
feuding
This
brothers.
is a safe space, so we can
it
use
is.
harassment.
It is. So, yeah, definitely the idle hands belong to the devil and firemen, firefighters.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can only
But-
imagine. Yep.
It's just fun though,
it is.
especially when it's one-sided.
Absolutely.
One-sided fun.
I know every time when I come back and drop into a firehouse, have a cup of coffee or something, it hasn't changed. It's just the faces are different, but it's the exact same thing, the exact same harassment, conversation, whatever.
Yeah.
Picking on people.
Yeah.
It just doesn't change.
Like right now, your
Drama.
car is out on blocks. Right now, the tires are
In
gone.
case you didn't know.
And what's funny is that that's the same anywhere. Way back when I was an instructor in the Air Force, there was a big rift between the basic course where we had the guys come through first, and then there was an advanced rescue course out there. And the instructors out there, they all started in the basic course, but they went out to the rescue, and then there was always things going on. So it was not unusual to leave work at the end of the day and go out and see somebody's car literally up on blocks because the rescue school would come over with airbags. That would take them seconds.
Yeah.
And they'd put it up on blocks just enough that the wheels couldn't touch, so you couldn't drive it. Yeah. There happened to be one of the guys that his wife worked at the movie theater on base and got large bags of all the leftover popcorn. And a guy had a sunroof and he left it open.
Oh, filled to the brim.
That is awesome.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter where you're at. It's all
That
the
is
same.
awesome.
Yep.
That's so good. So with that and transitioning into that, because you're kind of known as, I know we talked a little bit about the promotional stuff and some of the things that maybe people's perception of you, and just because where you came from and the experiences before, kind of a lone wolf or maybe whatever. But I think you were also known as a pretty lovable character. On the department. So what kind of, some of your favorite shenanigans or like firehouse stories kind of things that are
Emphasis on character.
yeah. I guess that are appropriate. I know we're trying. There's a lieutenant we've been trying to, a retired lieutenant we've been trying to get on the show and stuff. That he said he'd love to come on, but he's like, but none of my stories. I can't tell any of my stories. And that's Ricky Old. And we're coming for you,
Right.
But yeah, joking around, the guys. The guys that you've worked with over the years and stuff. But there's got to be some good stories as far as shenanigan stuff.
Oh yeah, there was always shenanigans going on. The one I remember, which probably would have got a lot of people in trouble, is way back at ones when the bunk room was just an open bunk. Mm-hmm. Right. We used to play lights out dodgeball.
Oh, we always
I've heard about
those
this.
stories.
Have you heard about it?
Yes, I love it.
That was absolutely insane. You'd have a bunch of guys in there with a volleyball.
Yeah.
And you'd wait and somebody'd go over and flip the light really quick, turn the light on, and then you'd find where everybody's at and turn it off, and then somebody'd whip the ball. It was crazy.
Did you guys leave the beds in place for that, or did you push them out to the side?
No, they were in place because that's where you had to hide. You know, I mean, you were trying to hide behind the bed. But I mean, there were some guys that got hit because it was dark. I mean, they got hit up close and hard, and it's like, you know, you would be like curling up in the corner in a ball, you know, in pain, and it's like, what are we doing?
That's a bunch of grown men, just like, hey, I got this great idea. Get a ball. We're gonna go in this room and shut off all the lights and whip it at each other.
It's like a sleepover with your friends. Your dumbest friends.
Yeah, you said grown. The key. You know, it was a bunch of adult men.
Adult.
Grown.
There you go.
Yeah,
Adult, grown
not
men.
mature.
Right. Yeah, adult. Yeah.
Just adult.
Yeah, it's some bunch of
age,
12-year-olds that do, but like no, that's
mentally
like a bunch of
lacking,
30,
maybe.
40-year-olds and 50-year-olds go in there and just whip a ball at each other.
Yeah, it was.
That's what we do.
That was crazy. And then, I mean, I remember working down at Ones with, you mentioned Ricky Ole and Shane Reed and all. I mean, and you would leave at the end of the day and your jaws would hurt from laughing so hard.
Yeah.
Oh my
It's a
gosh,
riot.
it was always so many jokes and everything going on. And there'd be, and I can't remember what day of the week it was, but it would be, we'd all line our chairs up out in front of the bay doors, you know, and then wave at everybody went by. It was just Waving Wednesday or something like that. It was, you know, and just, you know, and it's just to see who you could get to wave back and just laugh. And it was goofy, but that was always fun. Volleyball down at Ones was always fun. I mean, we used to string the volleyball net up between the snorkel and the wall. I don't know if there were still hooks in the wall there, but we used to, you know, go there. And I'm assuming probably if you look at all the heat shielding for up above is probably all beat to hell.
Still pretty beat up down
Still
there.
bent in.
And that's all been up because of volleyballs, you know. So, yeah, we used to get some pretty intense volleyball games going on, and that was always fun.
Yeah, I think some of the you know, compared to listening to some of the guys that some of the stories of the things that they used to get away with. I mean, you know, now I think I get a guy fired and stuff, but you know, but I mean, there's still
and again,
still stuff that
and I
goes
go back
on.
to that it doesn't matter where you're at. I remember when I was in North Carolina, the very first duty assignment with the Air Force, we watched like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie in the firehouse one time, and there was a civilian that was there, and he was scared of everything. And he was like curled up in a ball in the recliner during this movie, and so in the middle of the night, some guys went and got the chainsaw off the roof.
I knew this was coming.
Went into the bunk room and fired that chainsaw up. And you would have swore it put him back into his childhood. He was curled up, whining and crying. Yeah, it was bad. It was ugly. He did not appreciate that. Everybody else might have laughed a little bit, but
That's so great. That's so good.
So retired for just about 6 years now. What? So how has retirement been treating you?
Yeah, really good, really good. I'm actually like we were talking about earlier. You know, health wise, I'm really one of the lucky ones. I've had no issues with that, which is again, knock on wood. It's been good. So, and I see, you know, run into a lot of guys that have had obviously a lot of issues, and I think that has a lot to do with the safety part of things we were discussing, you know, with air packs and stuff like that. But so that's been good. Doing some odds and ends, part-time jobs just to keep a little bit of money coming in. And since we're down by the lake, and now we have lake toys, and now we need lake toy gas and things like that. So probably the biggest thing is pickleball.
You're one of those guys now, eh?
Oh yeah. That's I played lots of racquetball. You were
a big racquetball guy. So you were like the racquetball guy.
So and I went down there, and there's no racquetball. College of the Ozarks, which you may have heard of, they send teams up here all the time, NAIA stuff. They had a couple courts, but the president of the college caught people in there playing that weren't part of the college, so he kind of put a lockdown on that, so nobody could play there. And that was before I even got down there. So I was kind of disappointed that I wasn't able to play.
Right.
And so I was whining about it one time, and this was when Chuck Hirsch still lived down there. And Chuck says, you need to come play pickleball. Yeah, right. You old people playing pickleball? I ain't going to go play pickleball. Are you kidding me? He just started laughing. He goes, just show up. I've got extra paddles. Just show up and play and give it a try. And that's all it took.
Yeah, that's all.
First time.
Yeah.
So he got me addicted. So now I play, probably at least 15 hours a week, maybe 20.
Wow. That's great. Keeps you young.
Yeah, I go to tournaments all over. Last year I went to the National Senior Games, which is like the Olympics for old people.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you had to be over 50.
Yeah.
And so I signed up to play, and it was in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. You had to qualify. You had to qualify through your state.
Okay.
And you had to win the gold medal and to move up and go to that. So I went to that. Biggest tournament I've ever been to. There was 1,300 pickleballers alone.
Yeah.
52 courts.
Wow.
And it was just huge.
Yeah.
And I didn't have any partners, so I did what they call a blind date. I just put my name out there, and I got matched up with a woman that was from Maryland.
Okay.
And then played mixed doubles with her, and then men doubles with a guy from Connecticut. Mm-hmm. And with the woman, we ended up getting bronze.
Wow.
In our skill level at our age.
Yeah.
Which was pretty good.
Yeah.
Considering we had
awesome.
never played together. We played one game together the night before, and that was it. We never had even met.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I showed up there and I said, "I'm here. Send me a picture so I know who you are." I mean, we had no clue.
Yeah.
So that was pretty good. But
Yeah.
that's probably the biggest one that I've ever been to. But yeah, I continue to play all over and have a lot of fun. I think my wife knows it's an addiction,
Yeah.
But
We got, I think Polzine was excited because he's getting a pickleball net for his birthday that's going to come to the station. So, and I know
Nice.
Dexter, because Dexter's a big racquetball guy. Yeah. So played, and then him and Moorhead, when we had during the construction, when we had 80 was gone, so our bay was a lot more open. Yeah, Ben and Dex.
Those
had
three
actually
guys
taped.
you just mentioned, no surprise that they're into pickleball.
Yeah, they had.
Absolutely
but they had.
not.
Well, Chris hasn't gotten it. He's wanting to get. Well, because I keep saying that, and I do, because I'm like, we should probably do this. But they have, because out in Riverside is a huge pickleball. Not necessarily a cult, but it looks
it's a cult.
Cult-ish.
So let me tell you that I got into town at 3:30 yesterday afternoon, and by 5:30 I was in Riverside playing.
Wow.
Gotcha.
So we see that all the time.
Dedication.
So we're like, you know what? We need to practice up at the firehouse first, and then we'll go out and then on an
And
afternoon.
get beat by everyone.
Yeah.
Cool.
We figure for a workout, it'd be kind of fun to just go out and
it's be
fun. Pull up and get a
really.
pickup game and just join in.
And
Hey.
Yeah.
and it's for anybody. I've played against 12-year-olds and 80-year-olds.
No.
And,
For money.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
I'm going to take that.
I'm going to take your lunch money.
The
Yeah.
booger eater. Get over here. Don't know if you're talking to the 80-year-old or the 12-year-old.
But so just about anybody can play it. But but it's whatever you want to do, whatever level you want to play at.
Right.
So you can get out there and you can play and just hit the ball back and forth a little bit and have fun.
Yeah.
Or you can be very aggressive and like me down there. We've been playing. It's been the heat index has been 100 to 110, and we're out there playing. And I go through 3 shirts and a couple ball caps to keep the sweat off or whatever. And you're just drenched. It's a good workout.
Good staying active then, yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's the main
busy.
thing, though, having fun.
Yeah, and we always have a really good time. And I play with people all over. We live about 25 miles away from Branson, but we play with a lot of people from Branson and Springfield,
Yeah.
Missouri. So a lot of people up there.
No.
Nice.
So
Springfield, because that's where Lambert's is, right? Springfield.
yeah, well, yeah, Lambert's.
Just go get some throat
Ozark.
rolls out there. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So
Throat rolls.
besides pickleball, I know that when you were in Sioux City, you did a lot of gardening, and you even you had a very important title there, or you got recognized for your lawn and
Right.
everything too.
Yeah, but we actually we won Yard of the Year for Sioux City back in, I think it might have been 13.
All right, is
Something
that?
like that.
Are you still doing that now?
Well, the ground down there is a little different.
Oh, okay.
So it is a lot of rock. We bought some plants, and I went out, and when I figured out, it took me an hour to dig one hole. And I had to go buy a pick. To be able to dig a hole.
Yeah.
Because you can't use a shovel because you hit rock all the time.
Wow.
So we've done a couple things, but we have so many animals around in our area, like the deer eat everything. So we actually do very little
All right.
with that anymore. And plus, we have about 8 acres. most of it's trees. We live in a forest, basically.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, we do a little bit, but not at all. And my wife said the same thing. She said, when we come down here, we're not going to do all that. That was a lot of work.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But
You're doing like still doing the side by side thing, and
I've never had a side by side. I do an ATV.
You do ATV. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
I have not done any big trips since I moved down there. I've been bugging some friends of mine back here that we need to do a trip. We used to go to the Black Hills, at least once or twice a year, and been out to West Virginia riding and Moab, and so yeah, that's a lot of fun. My ATV's actually pretty pissed at me now because I put a spray tank on the back so I can spray weeds. So I turned it into a farm implement. So it's bad. Yeah.
now you need a leisure one.
Right.
You got the utility one. You need a leisure one.
Yeah.
Right.
So I told my kids, though, I said, well, I hopped on the golf cart and ran down to the lake the other day, and they said, that's the most retired thing I've ever done.
Dang right. Yeah.
Which are you you're on Table Rock?
Table Rock,
Just like
right.
on one of the fingers, one of the inlets, or
Yeah, we're there's
a little bit from there?
yeah, there's two rivers that join in together to make that. The White River, which is what's getting dammed up, kind of like the Missouri. They have the dam system on there.
Yep.
And so they control the White River. But then the James River comes in from the north, and we're up on the north end on the James River.
James. Yeah. Yeah, it's that Table Rock, and where you got Taneycomo and all that, but
Right.
Table Rock is, oh man,
It's,
that's
800 miles of shoreline.
Yeah.
it's
Huge.
incredible. It's so just like we were talking that I had the family down there and pontooning, and you could just every little because I asked at the marina, I'm like, okay, so where are the good places to go to just tie up and just hang out? And they're like, well, you can check out here and here, and how long it's going to take you to get here or there. But they're like all these little inlets, just pretty much all the coves, like you just find us. So we had a couple different coves, like we're the only people in there. We got out of the wind, put the anchor down, and just hung out. I mean, it's so cool. And
Yeah, and there's
so much.
there's one cove that's up by us, way up on the north end there. That's where a lot of boats go, and I mean they'll go. It's not unusual if you go way back in there because they're pretty long.
Yeah.
Because all they did is put a dam in the mountains and then just fill up the mountains. And so it's not unusual to find 12, 15 boats all tied together.
Yeah. Sure.
They're all just
Yeah.
coving out, they call it. And that lake is just all fingers. And
Yeah. It's temperature wise, it's nice. It's clear. I mean, Table Rock is fabulous
we were out the other day all
boating.
day long, and the water temperature was about 86, 87.
Oh baby.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been in it before when it was over 90. That's like diving into a bath.
Yeah, because Table Rock gets warm, but like Taneycomo, I think maintains like 54 degrees or
Right.
something like that all the time.
Whoa.
Right. So
Yeah.
Taneycomo was fed from Table Rock Lake,
Yep.
from the Table Rock Dam, and it's bottom feed water that comes out. And so
A deep cold.
it's
water,
cold.
Yeah,
And so
cold.
they get a lot of trout fishing and stuff like that. And that's
Yeah.
the same way up north. If you go farther up the river, you go to Beaver Dam, which is in Arkansas. And I actually took my jet ski. That's been my new ATV thing, is the jet
Okay,
ski. So
okay.
I took a big trip all the way up there to the Beaver Dam.
Yeah.
And it got so shallow that I couldn't make it. I kind of gave up. And some fishermen were there, and they were like, well, if you hang around, they're getting ready to release water from the dam, and it'll raise about 2 feet.
Oh.
And I said, sweet. So I waited about a half hour, and the water went way up, and I was able to get my jet ski all the way up by the dam.
Yeah.
Nice.
But that's the same thing. The water up there is cold. It was, 48 degrees, I think, was the water.
That's chilly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm out, because I'm sticking my jet ski in the sandbars and stuff, so gravel bars, and
Yeah.
having to get out and pull, and so it was chilly.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's been fun.
yeah.
fun.
Super fun.
It was took me 7.5 hours. It was 140 miles
Wow.
Wow.
round trip is what it shows on, on how good
Yeah.
the mileage is tracked on a jet ski. I don't know, but
Yeah. That's a long day on
was-
a
it's
jet
fun.
ski. It's,
Yeah.
I guess it's no different than, going way up north and
Right.
hitting a snow machine for,
Right.
7,
Yeah.
12 hours on a day and do a couple hundred miles on a
Except
snow
for-
machine. So
Did you say snow machine?
What is that?
that's like down here we call that a snowmobile.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Up north at the snow machine.
a snow machine. Yeah.
Feels like shut up.
I was waiting.
Get on
I was
your cat.
waiting. Either you.
Get on your skidoo and away you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my wife gets on me, because she's like, what is it? Is it skidoo? What's a skidoo? No, it's a skidoo. Well, then what's the watercraft? Well, that's a sea-doo. You don't say skidoo? No, that's a sea-doo. This is a skidoo. I don't understand what the problem is here, But
Don't do it. You'll hurt you. Don't do that.
Your head isn't square enough to understand that knowledge there that
Yeah.
comes in and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just
And for
not a
knowledge.
thing. Yeah. Polsine understands. That's the one nice thing
That's a
about
shout
having him
out
out
to
there.
you.
That was
shocker.
shocking to you.
Huge shocker.
Yeah, he understands. He gets it. We could talk. We could communicate. And Johansson just sits there, is like, I don't know what's happening anymore. Yeah,
Oh man.
it's okay. Anything like any advice or anything you'd give to new guys starting out and stuff anymore?
Have fun. Do all the training that you can do. Learn everything you can learn, and ask everybody that's around you. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Either learning something, or if you have something that's bothering you, don't be afraid to ask for those things. But don't just come in and have this be a job. It's not a job. There's nothing. There's not anything that's a job related, really. I mean, this is a
Yeah.
career. This is a lifestyle. This is a family. So take advantage of all that.
Yeah.
So that when you leave, you can say, "Man, that was good." That was,
Yeah.
and do what you can to add to it. I mean, if you're there and you're new or whatever, if you've got something to add eventually, then add to it.
Yeah.
Whatever that happens to be. If you're good at hazmat, do hazmat. If you're good at the peer sport and you want to get involved with that, do that. Or if you want to, whatever, find something. Could be one of the rescue specialties or whatever. Just find whatever's your thing and do your best.
Yeah. And speaking about family and stuff, anything that you like to share about your family or because this is going to be on the interwebs for a while and stuff, so
Right,
it's something for
right.
the grandkids or eventually great grandkids if YouTube is still a thing down the road that they can look back and kind of see
Well, I can eliminate one word that you said. Eventually,
eventually.
yeah, because I do have a great grandson.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
So, so they've, when the wife and I got married, we've been married a little over 28 years now, and so we got married, we were the Brady Bunch, so I had 3 kids and she had 3 kids, and so we figured out that they liked, there's that saying in the Bible that says, "Go forth and multiply."
Yeah.
Well, we figured that's what our kids like to do.
Oh.
So we have 23 grandkids.
23.
23.
Wow.
Yeah. The oldest just turned, our twins. We didn't even start with 1. We started with 2.
Yeah.
So the twins just turned 21 here not long ago.
Yeah.
Just a few weeks ago, and all the way down to 1.
Wow.
So they're spread out quite a bit.
Yeah.
But then we had the one grandson that he just had a little boy. So
Yeah.
Wow.
and he's about 6 months now, I think, or somewhere 7 months.
Great Grandpa Gerr Bear.
Great.
Wow.
I
great
like it.
Yeah.
That is fantastic.
That
So,
is.
Yeah.
yeah, and they're all over. I mean, we've still got a couple here in town, and a daughter that lives up in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and then all 3 of my kids are living in a little tiny town over in Nebraska, and all live in the same town.
Yeah. Do the family come down and hang out with you guys down in Branson?
Everybody's been down except for one of the daughters in her family. They've just not been able to, with his work and
Yeah.
everything. They've just not been able to make it down. But the other ones have all been down there at least once. So the place that we bought has a little, we call it the apartment, mother-in-law suite, whatever. We've got it set up. It'll sleep 10. It's got a full bathroom, little kitchenette,
Yeah.
dining table, the whole works, and it's outside access only. So people can kind of come and go and do their own thing if they want to, and they don't disturb us if they don't want to, and
Yeah.
they can come in the house if they want, whatever. And so it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
we've had them all
absolutely.
down.
Awesome.
They like to come down and go out on the boat and go tubing and do the lake things. But
That's right.
Yeah. Jerry, you watch Star Wars?
yeah,
Okay. Can you settle something? So,
yeah. I'm going to give you that. You might be disappointed, just like what he was when I said truck. So,
yeah. So, what's like if you were to say greatest Star Wars episodes?
Oh, greatest Star Wars.
Like
episodes.
what's
Okay.
your favorite Star Wars movie? What's the best one?
It's funny that you say that because recently we had a tornado go through our area down there,
Okay.
within about a mile of our house. Wiped out a cell tower that supplied us everything, our
Okay.
cell service, our internet, you name it. So we had to resort to watching movies on DVD.
Okay.
We watched all the Star Wars movies,
Yeah.
all of them. So I have to go back to like the original series.
Okay.
Old school.
Yep.
You know.
The original
Yeah,
saga, the
yeah,
first three.
Yeah. That was
Episodes 4,
not
5, and 6.
right. Yeah, it's
Okay.
the wrong episodes, but they're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I still like those. I mean,
Yeah.
even though you watch them and you look at the special effects and you're going, man.
Yeah.
So, that old school, but it was cool.
Yeah. But still better than the newer stuff, right?
Right.
Better than episode 3.
And I even had to make a comment, man. You know, Princess Leia. Whew.
Yeah.
So you like the truck and crappy Star Wars? Well, thanks for having you. Thanks for coming on, Jerry.
I thought he was gonna ask me, you know, Star Wars or Star Trek, and I was
Oh,
gonna go
we don't
Star.
even talk about
I was
Star
gonna go
Trek
Star
at all.
Trek because that's my thing.
Okay.
So that's why I said you're gonna be disappointed.
Now you really can leave it. Yeah.
So yeah, we watch all the Star Trek stuff too. But-
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, you guys got anything else for Gerr Bear? Because that was the important question I needed answered.
I should have known that was coming. That's like every single guest.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
I wanted to talk about some of the golf outfits for the local 7 tournament.
Oh,
Yeah,
That was always a treat.
Yeah, I was going to add some of that. Yeah, that was. Yeah,
When did that start? Always?
day one.
Day one?
Yeah, always. right from the beginning. And it was, you know, the golf outing is, well, it wasn't about golf.
No, never
Never
has
Never
been.
is.
Never, no. Alcohol might have been
Oh,
involved.
sure.
They
So
sell that
maybe.
there? And
I think they do. I don't know if they do or not.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was actually, it started before that because when I was a counselor up at Burn Camp, we always had times when we had put on skits, put on shows for the, and it was always dress up stuff, whatever it happened to be, you know. Even so much that we used to run, myself and Steve Trobaugh, Larry Bluvin, you know, Darwin Blandford, even though he tried to stay a little reserved a little bit, but we would actually run into town and hit the secondhand shops to find all the junk we could, you know.
That's awesome.
Not that I know I wear a size 11 women's shoe, why I would know that. But so we used to do that up there all the time. So it kind of progressed into the golf thing because I can't golf. I mean, I've got clubs and I can smack a ball around, but it's not about the golf. It was about, and again, it's me just being goofy, being a clown, you know, and deciding that, you know, I try to find whatever I could to dress up and have some kind of outfits. And what's funny is I did one time where I dressed up literally as a clown. I mean, I had the rainbow wig and everything else. And the people that I was with all the time were okay with that and had a lot of fun with it. And we always had a radio. I mean, we'd be blasting a radio, which is not, you know, that's not golfing. That's not etiquette. But I ran into Chief Everett's dad. I used to play racquetball with him, so I knew him. And I saw him one time. I said, "Hey, I know you're a golfer. Why don't you ever golf in our tournament? I mean, your son's on an apartment. You know, at the time he wasn't chief, but I said, your son's on an apartment. Why don't you come golf with us?" "Oh no," he said, "I can't do that." He said, "We were out there and did a round before you guys showed up." He says, "I don't know who it was. There was this group that was out there. This one guy was dressed as a stupid-looking clown, and they had music going and everything." They started laughing, and he looked at me and goes, "Was that you?" Yeah, it was me. So, it was, and then I went to the probably the one that caused the most stir with everybody was the
polar plunge.
polar plunge.
Yeah.
That is still my favorite costume
That
by
was-
far.
So, the very first polar plunge, right? The union's getting a team together, and they're short a person. Jesse Pedersen calls me and he says, "Hey, we need another guy for our team." And I was like, "Nah, I don't think so. I'm just not my thing, you know." He goes, "Well, let me tell you this. There's a costume contest, and you're always good for something." I was like, "I'm in."
I'm in. You got me.
So literally, I mean, I didn't know. I was racking my brain. I got to do something. And so I can't remember. I was talking to one of the daughters or something, and somebody said something about being a baby, and I was like, "Oh, I'll be a baby." So, you know, I went to the dollar store and bought, you know, this big pink towel and pink bow and a binky and,
Oh,
you know,
man, yes.
everything. And so I showed up down there Chief Hamilton, he like turned away and would not acknowledge that I was even part of the fire department.
Awesome.
And when they did a picture with everybody, he was just like, oh my God. You know. But, and that's funny, the DJ that was in charge of everything, come up to me, and he pulls me out the side and he goes, hey man, I got to tell you, you got balls, man. You got balls. He said, I can't believe you showed up in an outfit like that. Hey, but I won the contest.
That's right.
Got $50 to Outback, you know, so
Yes.
what the heck? So yeah, that was a good one. That was, that rose a lot of ire through the department, sort of. I mean, there were some people that were upset about that, and it's like,
they were
you're
mad,
embarrassing.
like,
You know what's funny about that though is I was hearing all that, so I sent emails. I don't know if you guys remember, but I was like, hey, listen, it was a joke.
Yep.
It was done as a joke. There was a challenge thrown at me. I'm not going to let that challenge go.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so yeah, I dressed up, but it was a fundraiser. You know, and I'd never wanted to do it, and so I had a guy call me, and he said, yeah, well, if they can't handle it, you know, then, you know, screw those guys. You know, it was just a joke and blah blah blah. And a little while later, I was telling somebody about getting that phone call, and they looked at me and they said, really? He's the one who called you? And I said, yeah. And they go, he's the one that was bad mouthing you. I was like, well, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
He was the one that was bad mouthing me, and he called up to try to, you know, kiss up from
Yeah.
my side of it. But I was like, man,
Yeah.
that's just not right.
yeah.
But yeah, that was yeah. And every once in a while, that picture still shows up
Every now and
of
again.
me in the diaper, the big pink
man.
diaper.
That I want to see that, and then we're due for Jesse Pedersen's pool shot when he's
Well,
jumping
yeah.
up out of the water, flexing.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one for a while.
Okay, we might have to make that one happen too.
Yeah.
Probably need a new
what's done is
backdrop for
done.
the podcast.
Yeah, so that's I've always been, and I even wore, you know, when we did there's pictures out there too of the dunk tank when we did the movie night, you know, and I dressed up in whatever, and I had a fish on my head that was a hat that looked like Dory, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
there was always
Something.
always something going on.
Yeah.
Gotta have fun.
Always
Yeah.
loved seeing those.
Yeah.
Don't you change?
No.
Oh, I won't.
go change.
I won't. It's just that I don't have the opportunities done. The people in where I live now, they're starting to understand me a little bit. But I came in guns blazing, and they were like, no,
Yeah.
No.
A little much.
no, it's no, you can't do that.
Yeah.
You know, that's just not appropriate.
Yeah.
You can't wear that on the field. And whatever, you know. So it's been a little different.
Yeah. Getting there. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll get me.
Well, Jared, like, this has been fun. I mean, a lot of stuff. It's always nice, you know, seeing guys come back to the area and stuff, especially guys that are still staying healthy, staying active, doing all the things. And I think, you know, when people talk about people, I mean, everybody knows, you know, that was around knows Gerr Bear and stuff, and still people still talk about you, good, bad, or otherwise and stuff. But
right.
you know, Gerr Bear's a fixture, I think, in Sioux City fire culture. You know, where we're at now and stuff. And we've talked about some of the things that are still in place that were kind of just implemented or part of our culture and stuff
Right,
that, you know, when you were there, you were a big part of that. It's going to be kind of a legacy and a lineage to live on forever. So,
Right.
you know, you might be gone, but, you know like we still talk about you a little bit. So,
Well, that's good. I mean, that was never a goal of mine when I got hired,
No.
you know, but once I got going and figured out that,
yep. So we
it'd be
appreciate
fun.
you
Yeah.
coming back.
Yeah, I know.
I'm glad I
do.
could be here. Yeah.
Ship, anything to add?
It's been a long time coming, so.
Nope. Thanks for
Captain
everything.
Chaos?
Oh, great having you here for
Yeah,
this. Good
I love
seeing
it.
you again as always.
Yeah.
Come
great to
back
see you
soon.
guys.
So, how about you guys want to paper, rock, scissors? Who's gonna take us out?
Ryan, drop the tones.
Ooh.
Oh, that was quick.